Look at the eyes. Measure the disappointment. Feel the moment. This was no victory. This was no loss. This was the last time Essendon and Richmond met. One of the greatest games of 1995. A game remembered for fiery clashes that left Richmond's Michael Gale with a broken collarbone and Stuart Maxfield nursing a shattered jaw. A match highlighted by brilliant football. And a match that ended as it started, with nothing separating either team. From the Melbourne Cricket Ground, the cutthroat second semi-final between Richmond and Essendon.
It's a good word, cutthroat. No tomorrow for one of these teams at about 5 o'clock Eastern time tonight. Hello, welcome to the Melbourne Cricket Ground. It's Richmond against Essendon. This morning there were about 6,000 seats only available. We believe it could be a sellout today. The crowds have been coming in on this beautiful day in Melbourne, this September afternoon. At least 90,000, maybe the full 95, 96,000 here today for these two teams. They've got great following. The Tigers have waited a long time to be in the final series, and the Bombers have had more than 1 million people come to watch their matches so far in 1995. They're streamed into the ground. It's one of the best sights in football, one of the great sights in sport. The MCG filled to the rafters on a sunny afternoon. These people were waiting for a gate to be open so they could make their way into the ground and get a vantage point. And the roar in the next 15 minutes when these two teams come out, well, your hair will stand on end. The two teams, the rankings after the first weekend of football. Footscray, Brisbane gone. We're down to 6. Carlton, Geelong sitting, waiting, 1 and 2 for the preliminary final next weekend. And then Essendon and North, who both won last weekend 3 and 4. Richmond and West Coast ranked 5 and 6. What happens next weekend is as follows. Geelong sit back. They play the winner of this match today at Waverley Park next Saturday afternoon, and tomorrow's match between North and West Coast, the winner comes to the MCG for a preliminary final at night. Well, what even adds to this match today is the fact that they've only played once this year. It was one of the best games of the season, a draw on a Friday night, and John Northey, who was coaching that night in his third season now at Richmond, had this to say about that particular game.
After that game, I've never seen the players so disappointed in virtually losing a game, because that's what it seemed around the club. You know, they'd worked so hard and they were very, very disappointed. So I'm sure that will never go out of their mind now. So, you know, that you get in a tight situation, you would be able to call on that. And from that experience, once again, you know, hopefully that will help us.
Another little factor, the Sheedy factor. 15 years at Richmond, played in a premiership with Northey in 1969, now 15 years with Essendon. And he talked about the match-up between the two clubs.
Well, life's about grabbing the opportunities, and I'm quite sure Essendon and Richmond are going to try and grab it this weekend. That's why I think we'll pack the grandstands out this weekend. I mean, you'd have to think that the night final 2 years ago, where they just packed 78, 80 odd thousand at Waverley in the then Foster's Cup, which is now the Ansett Cup grand final. I mean, I think they're underestimating people in Melbourne. I think Richmond and Essendon will pull an enormous crowd. Might even shut the place down.
Yes, Kevin, they might shut the place down. Front page of the Melbourne Age today, Jack Dyer kicked 9 goals the last time these two teams played in a final. Dick Reynolds was captain coach of Essendon. Robbo, it was 51 years ago. Can you believe it?
Bruce, I can't. I think that these two teams have been absolutely sensational right throughout the season. I think Richmond's spirit has got them this far. I wonder whether it can continue. That the Bombers, on the other hand, in round 15, what a great game we witnessed. There was a lot of spirit that night, and I don't think that this will be any different. I think the crowd will add to the flavour. You just can't beat finals football. If we can have 80 or 85,000 people here, I think they'll get a real treat. I think Richmond, OK, they've suffered a little bit through injuries, but they've got a side out there that will be competitive. Essendon, of course, had a few players missing in that night game, which resulted in a draw, but gee whiz, I'm looking forward to this, Bruce, and I'm sure the crowd will be entertained for most of the day.
Robbo, looking forward to calling with you today. Neil Danaher in the stand. Chris Danaher. What famous names the Danahers are. Chris Danaher missing out today Famous family, famous names, so much connected with Essendon. As I said, looking forward to calling with Robbo and working with Ross Glendinning, who will join me right after the break. Welcome back. Live shots from the 7 Sport helicopter as we look down on the Melbourne Cricket Ground today. You can see both the banners laid out, waiting to be brought forward for the two teams to run out. And what a moment that will be as I introduce Ross Glendinning to the telecast. Ross, special day in Melbourne today.
Magnificent, Bruce. This sort of weather, fantastic this time of the year. The query I have with the ground, Bruce, is that centre wicket area. It's so very hard, and players, if they get slung to the ground heavily there, can injure shoulders, arms, and also with this blood rule, graze, knees, elbows, players can be coming on and off, so there must be some work done there to soften it up a bit. It is a very big problem there. I really do think that. Something
we'll be watching today, and no doubt will come into action. The teams as selected, there's been speculation left, right and centre over the last 48 hours, and particularly in the last hour or two as to how they'll line up and as to whether there'll be one or two missing from a couple of the teams.
Yes, well, we hope there won't be too many players missing, Bruce, because last week we saw with Kevin Sheedy at Calthorpe, the Salmon doubt, Calthorpe having to come off the ground, running on the ground with 22. The big problem, I think, for Richmond, Bruce, is Salmon. Didn't take much part in the game last week, but he's such a hard player to match up with. And Turner, if he does play there, a very big job. I don't think Naish will take long. I think you'll find that Broderick will come into the centre there, and Naish will have more of a free-running role. And Jurica, the player there also, I think must step up if Richmond have a chance to win this game.
Well, that's how they were selected. Let's see how you think they will line up. You've made about 3 changes here. We should point out that Joe Mercuri didn't play in the reserves today.
Yeah, so you think if there's a doubt on Long with that ankle, we've also heard there might be some doubt on Mark Harvey too, Bruce, with a hamstring. A couple of critical ones, I think both Deer and Somerville are so very important through the middle area there. Somerville's had a great year. Deer, with his experience in finals, is so very important. Bullis, if he can control Alessio, but the player who has got a big job is Kellaway if he takes Hurd. Hurd last time they met 15 marks, last week 10, and is such a productive forward, not always kicking goals, but just creating something and setting play up. And of course the other fella who, that mismatch there might be Bond on Lloyd. Young Lloyd last week was terrific with his marking ability, and I thought he really did step up very well.
Now the banner, the Tiger banner up. Onward to glory. They had a brilliant banner here last week. And that's one side. And look at this raw power. Last week it was way back. It revealed it afterwards. So much thought and effort going into the banner. One of the great things about today, if there's 90,000, you would think 45,000 will be barracking for Essendon and 45,000 for Richmond. They have such tremendous support, Ross. What about the key to Richmond today?
Well, I think they need to get goals out of Benny Gale and Jurica, and Wayne Campbell more particularly midfield last Friday night. Got a lot of the football, but unfortunately was under pressure when he got it. Had a few shots a goal. I think he kicked 4 points at the end of the night, and if he had to kick 3 goals or maybe 4, could very well have been the difference. His work ethic is just outstanding, as is the whole Richmond side, and I think what they need to do because of that, Bruce, is get more value for their possessions. They use the ball least of all out of all the sides in the competition. Conversely, Essendon use it the most, so they've got to get more value for their kicks.
And their banner honouring Peter Somerville, who plays his 100th
a key role, doesn't he? Yes, he's had a very good year.
Very important. Now the rooms, Essendon, Michael Simons and David Calthorpe are the 2 players officially back who didn't play last week. You mentioned Mark Harvey, he stripped, so that's a good sign, isn't it?
It is actually, yes. He didn't spend much time on the ground last week with Salmon, so he's a player who could come and play in a forward role. I think he may be a bit short to play centre-half back today on someone like Gale. But the other fellow, Simons, you mentioned, Bruce, I think he's the player that can play back or forward or through the midfield, and he just gives Kevin Sheedy that flexibility he really likes to have.
Where's the key to Essendon?
Oh, Paul Salmon, without doubt. I think Bruce, he, as I mentioned before, so hard to match up on. And if he takes a few grabs early, gets the ball fed to him quite frequently in that first quarter, could make all the difference. If he's on song with his kicking, I mean, his finals record with goals is very, very good. So I just think that Richmond have to be very wary of the Essendon midfielders and try and reduce the opportunities that Salmon does get down forward.
Do you feel he's one of the few players who can kick a bag? He's the only Essendon player this year who's kicked more than 5 in one match.
Yes, well, we saw Mercuri last week step up and kick his 4. He was the player that got them going and kept them in the match and then eventually won the game for them, I thought. But Salmon certainly is the one player who can break this right open, kick 5 or 6 and be the difference.
Yes, he kicked 8 in one match this year, and you feel that he might be the one who can kick an absolute bag today. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with the teams running on the ground and the build-up to this second semi-final. Welcome back. We mentioned that the 2 teams had not played in a final since 1944 against one another. In the last 25 years, This is their finals record, Richmond having played 23 and 115. So a pretty good record. Essendon 27-13. In total, Richmond have won 10 flags and Essendon 15. Great shots from the chopper as we come in, and the Tigers are coming out. And we'll be looking left, right and centre here because there are rumours that there'll be a couple of changes. Now, Ross, have you noticed anything?
Yes, John Howard and David Bourke both out there.
Which means there are 2 changes to the lineup. We'll try and pick them up pretty quickly as to who's missed out. There was a doubt, what about Scott Turner?
And Paul Bullis.
OK, so looks like Turner's there, doesn't it?
Yes, Turner's there.
So Jurica might be missing with Bullis, 23 and 21. So no Stephen Jurica, no Paul Bullis. John Howard, who's played just 2 games this season, and the last one was in round 18. I think the first was in the opening round, and young Bourke, who hasn't played since round 17, are both out there. I wonder when they found out, Roscoe, they were playing today. Well, let's go down and join 2 men who are working together on the boundary, who were in a premiership team together in 1986 at Hawthorn, Dipper and Russell Morris.
Good afternoon, boys, and electrifying down here, Fly.
Fantastic, Dipper. Like, the Richmond crowd, Bruce, I reckon are one of the loudest crowds in the AFL, especially over that Richmond end. It's a sensational atmosphere.
And just talking about Michael Long, who's not playing, obviously, and Joe Mercedes in the side. I just come out of the Essendon rooms, and they are pumped for a big game today. And the key to it, I think, is Paul Salmon. I said, Paul, how you going? He goes, I'm all right, thank you, Robert. No one's called me Robert for 15 years. I think he's nervous.
So is he focused? I don't know. Look, Roscoe, you mentioned that Salmon was a key, but I think Richmond have been written up all year. Not necessarily as finals contenders, but in big games, they've always questioned whether Richmond can keep doing it, and they've always come up and risen to the occasion. I believe the key players for Richmond, they're on the midfielders, the Campbells, Maxfields, Broderick and Knights. 4 very, very good players, and they get a lot of possession, so Western have to follow.
Just talking about Campbell, I mean, he's been suffering the flu throughout the week, and I would see that Gary O'Donnell might have the job on him, and that'll be fantastic for this enormous crowd. Maybe not 95,000 people, but close to 90,000.
Well, there's a couple of empty seats up in the Western stand, but they're filling pretty quickly, Bruce. The atmosphere is sensational.
Fly.
And I'm very, very excited.
Can you feel it?
Very, very excited.
Can you feel it, Fly?
That's great.
Can you feel it?
Yes.
Good on you, Dipper, and Russell Morris there together. People still waiting to get in, so this ground could fill up. No Michael Long, and Joe Mercedes playing. Must have been touch and go, Ross, with Long.
Yes, that's a shame from the crowd's point of view as well, but certainly there'd be one Richmond player be quite happy that Long isn't playing.
Yes, he's the hardest man probably in the competition, with Matera, I think, to match up with in midfield in the finals, having won the Norm Smith in '93.
Yes, and well done to Peter Somerville. 100 games in his year has been outstanding, and he, in his duel with Greg Deere, will be very important today.
So from Essendon's point of view, we talk about Mercuri back in. Kevin Sheedy said he probably needed a run in the reserves to be fully match hard. What about from Richmond's point of view? They've lost a key goal scorer in Jurica. It's 1 less for them, isn't it?
Yes, and they need now, Bruce, more importantly, get more goals out of the likes of Daffy, Naish, those sorts of players to bob up and kick 3 or 4. And perhaps Maxfield, the player with that swooping left footer coming off a wing or a half forward, can kick 3 or 4. Another player that could step up.
Well, it'll be interesting to see the line-up also at the back for Essendon. Now, O'Connor or Fletcher would have got Jurica, maybe even O'Connor with his bulk. I wonder what sort of a role he'll play. He may go forward now.
Well, O'Connor did such a very good job on Jason Ball last week. He really kept him right out of the contest, and may even get a job on Brendan Gale today. But Mark Harvey spent most of the game last week on the bench. When he did come on, Bruce went to the forward line.
You had Ola Renshaw maybe picking up Campbell. What about the dream matchup, O'Donnell versus Campbell?
Well, that would be ideal. I think O'Donnell was picked up last week by Pike. In fact, was tagged himself, so he has more of a free running role, and it was outstanding last week with 30+ possessions. Not only getting the ball, Bruce, but what he does with it is just superb.
And Robbo, welcome back, making your way up from the ground through the crowd. It must be a great feeling out there. We can really feel it in our broadcast box, which is situated on centre wing. We've got just the best view here, and these are the people still waiting to get into the ground at the moment. What are we? We're about 8 minutes away from the start of this match, and this ground is going to be very, very close to full. We did get 94,800 on Anzac Day this year for Essendon and Collingwood. We've had tremendous crowds this season, and there's Michael Long, who must be bitterly disappointed.
Darren Buick as well.
Yeah, Buick, of course, we tend to forget, don't we? I mean, he's had to sit out most of the season.
I think Long will watch the most anxious 3 hours of football, Bruce, because if Essendon lose, they're out. And if they win, he might have a chance of playing next week. And, of course, they win that, he's got that incentive of a grand final appearance again.
Well, Dipper's just been chatting to Michael Long. What are his feelings, Dipper?
Yeah, Bruce, obviously, is very disappointed not being out here today playing. But it was touch and go, but I think Essendon's more concerned about winning this game. And hopefully, if they do win, they've got him in full flight for the next couple of weeks.
Oh, that's good news. I mean, he would fully fit if they get over today. There's a lot of hypotheticals here, but Waverley Park, he is such an important player at Waverley Park because he carries a line so quickly, doesn't he?
Yes, it is important too. And you hear coaches say, Bruce, that they don't want to take a risk with players who aren't quite right, particularly in a final. It's a tough decision to leave someone out like Long, but long term, you've got to look after the player's future, and that's certainly what they've done there today.
Gavin Wanganeen's an interesting one. Started on Gehrig last week. Looked a bit of a mismatch in terms of height. He was exposed early. He's such a great player. Does he go forward today? Does he start in the back pocket? Where do you think he'll line up?
Well, I think they can cover back without him, Bruce. I could see him going forward and being quite effective. Robert, what do you think?
Well, he's such a good player, Ross. He's going to be of some value to Essendon, whether he's in the defensive half or the forward half. But there's the guy that, gee, he's innovative, isn't he, Sheedy? I mean, I think he's probably, you know, for 15 years or 16 years he's been coaching this team, and he's survived, and he's also, you know, he's turned a few players over, but, gee, there's a lot of players out there that have been with him for quite a while, and I think it's a credit to him.
There's Gerard Healy and, yeah, John Fitzgerald. Gerard Healy, the Brownlow medalist in 1988. Fitzy, such a grand player in many Davis Cup ties for Australia, and one of the great doubles players in world tennis. Watching on today.
That guy there's a key player too, Bruce. Just went out of the picture. Denham. He's been sensational since he's crossed from Geelong.
Yet I think in the last month or two he's probably just been on a rather flat spot. Now the umpires today, Rowan Saws. He's got the record for the most number of games. 4 grand finals, 25 finals going in. So much experience, a full-time umpire. He carries number 5. Brian Sheehan, 4 grand finals, 36 years of age. Sawyers is 40. He's a manager at a printing company, Brian Sheehan. And Greg Scroop, the Western Australian, who did a Waffle Grand Final in 1992. And this is his first season of finals, just 27 years of age, the young man out there amongst the group. And there's the fish, Paul Salmon, who's been 7 times the leading goal kicker at the club. He'll miss that, I feel, this year. James Hurd's got a pretty big lead on him. But as Ross said, he's a key here. He was given jeers when he left the ground last week. It was a pretty tough call because it was touch and go whether he'd play. He did a dramatic warm-up on the ground, and then Calthorpe had to leave. Look at this scene at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. The Great Southern Stand. It's one of the great sights in sport.
See, there's not much doubting as to where the football fan likes to watch the football, is there, when you see that?
Look, I've been lucky enough to go to a lot of stadiums around the world, a lot of Olympic stadiums, and seen some of the best. This lines up with all of them. It's as good as you'll ever get. And for Richmond, so many, 18 players today, Ross, are playing in their second final only. Last week was their first.
Yes, well, with Greg Deere with 15, they averaged 2 finals for the side. Essendon averaged 5, so there's a bit of a difference there.
Oh, it's interesting. Let's go back to 1993 when a question was asked about Essendon's young players and whether they'd perform in a grand final against the experience compared with Carlton. And the Essendon boys came out on top. I mean, there's 2 ways of looking at it. There probably is a certain amount of trepidation about having not played too many times, but there's also a fresh face, isn't there?
Absolutely, and we've seen so many legends play in finals for the first time. In Brereton's one that comes to mind. Russell's got a report on the injuries to Jerica and Bullis. Russell Morris.
Yes, Bruce. Bullis was obviously under a cloud with a foot injury, and Jerica very similar. So obviously Johnny Howard and David Bourke get an opportunity to prove themselves. I believe that you know, Bullis was under that cloud during the week, but Jerica was a bit of a surprise. I don't know whether it might have been a shaky one or not. So all it is now is an opportunity for the 2 new kids.
There's Jerica, we can see in the stand. In fact, young Bourke would be the only player out there playing in his first final today. He didn't play last weekend, so it's his first final. Geez, father, Francis, wasn't he a great player? 5 premierships at this club. Did the lot, didn't he? Captain the club, coached the club, was chairman of selectors.
1972, I played 3 finals against him, Bruce, and he would be, in my opinion, the hardest player that I ever played football against.
Well, we hope to be talking to him at half-time.
don't want to talk about my record against him, do you? Because it was it was quite embarrassing because he was a champion player.
Well, you had your colours lowered by an all-time great. It's not a bad way to go, Robbo, if it's going to happen. They've been out there for a long time, Richmond, haven't they? And now Essendon, they've had plenty of time to soak it in, Ross.
I don't think that's a bad thing, Bruce, being out there a bit early, particularly for some of the younger guys. Just get out there, get a feel of it, get a bit of a kick early, and just settle down.
I just thought last week, too, that early, Richmond in that final against North Melbourne, they just looked a little toey, and that would have stood them in good stead. I give them a real chance of winning this game. A real good chance.
Well, I think in finals, you always tend to feel the favourite is the team that won the week before. You forget about what's happened during the year. It's happened again this weekend. North are favourite tomorrow over West Coast. Essendon are favourite over Richmond. It was because they won last week and the others lost. But the others actually had better seasons because they finished above them.
Yes, when you've backed Essendon last week with their form coming into a final, having lost their last 2 games. I mean, it just
exactly
doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
No. They're even money games, I reckon, when you get to this point.
Only on the basis I ran into Sheedy a couple of weeks ago, and I just said to him, I get the impression that you haven't got them cranked up properly yet. And you wonder whether that right now is the time for him to get real serious.
I think he has to. There's no tomorrow. John Kennedy and Ross Oakley, the chairman and chief executive of the AFL, they stand as we join Craig Willis for the national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Australian Football League and Coca-Cola welcome you to today's second semi-final. Would you now please stand for the playing of the national anthem?
Seven Sport chopper, that mighty roar at the end of the national anthem has set the stage for this knockout semi-final between Richmond and Essendon. Look at the phone out there, already instructions going out to John Northey, the toss of the coin about to be made. Here's Dipper down there.
That's Bruce, what a roar, what a roar. Bomber Thompson is calling. He's called heads, he's missed out. Brendan Gale has won the toss and they're kicking left of screen, Bruce.
Richmond to the left of screen to the punt road end. Brendan Gale tossing the coin today. Not Matthew Knights, who has filled in for Tony Free. The Tigers and the Bombers. The Bombers now breaking up. We'll get their interchange in a moment. Gary O'Donnell, such a key. Lee Matthews said during the week he felt O'Donnell and Campbell were probably the keys to these two teams in organisation, particularly O'Donnell, in the way that he organises the Essendon midfield. And we'll pick the interchange up, Ross.
Yes, we've got Doolan, Calthorpe and Mercuri for Essendon.
Gee, 3 nuggety types, aren't they? A lot of power in the legs with Mercuri and Doolan and Calthorpe coming off. And now the Tigers are coming off. We've got Prescott by the look of it.
Maxfield. Yes, and John Howard is the 3rd player.
It's been a while since we've seen John Howard, hasn't it, at this level. Came across with John Northey from Melbourne. And now the key matchup, Salmon in the goal square, as you'd expect. Brendan Gale at full forward.
Here's Pryor.
And look at the Essendon forward line, the way they're lining up, all very close to the goal square.
Yes, Bonder's got O'Donnell. Looks like Pryor will get the job on Campbell. Pryor had the job last week on Matera.
Campbell on his own at centre-half back. There's the Essendon lineup. Greg Scroope holds the ball aloft. We're set to go. Tigers to the left of screen.
Blows a magnificent execution of the bounce. Knocked out by Somerville. Here comes Knight's grab. Kicked up the ground. Somerville the left half forward. Here comes Alessio. He picked it up. He hand passed it back towards O'Donnell. O'Donnell taken high. Advantage played. Low trajectory kick. Here comes the young boy in Lloyd, who has been pushed in the back. It's not Lloyd. It is Lloyd. I was right. Who tapped me then and said I was wrong? Sorry.
No, you were correct, but I think that was a very, very tough decision. I mean, the guy's flat, the Essendon guy's flat on the ground anyway, so what does it really matter if someone lands on top of him and doesn't hurt him? What does it really matter?
The free kick against David Bourke, and Lloyd is a left-footed 17-year-old young man playing today. It is in the square. It is Salmon goes up, and there's a free kick off the pack to Richmond. It's going to go to Turner against Alessio in the square. The depths of defence for Richmond it is at the main scoreboard end that hasn't checked over. 1 minute 15 now. Bang goes the football outside 50. Turner glistens over there. Going up, beautiful mark by Charles. Charles at centre half back for Richmond. Hand passes up to Campbell. He races away and bounces and runs to the emblem. Here comes a go Bond. Bond has taken the mark for Richmond. At centre half forward, too far out the score. Running across the mark, play on to the umpire. Here is Benny Gale. Punched away down there by Simons. Play on to the umpire. Pulled off the football. Here comes Wanganeen. Ball said the umpire. Harvey came through. Hand pass down to Young. Young gets it out to Young Lloyd. And Essendon going to get out of trouble, Kitty.
I'll come to you in a moment, Dermott, to see where Sheedy's using Lloyd as he drives along this members win looking for Mercuri. He dances away playing in the short sleeves today to Denham, who makes a rear fumble but hand passes back to Mercuri. The ball's on the wing. He drives long on the left foot. He's hoping for Simons to leap from behind. Ball hits the ground. It's roved well by Olorenshaw. Kicks to Salmon, who gets it on the bounce. Hand passes to the goal square. Simons can't pick it up. It's wobbling toward the forward pocket. Good pressure, Rogers. Simons goes in again. Hurd's there as well. It may be a ball up. Time for you, Dermott, to explain maybe what Sheedy's doing.
Well, Lloyd is starting in the forward pocket at the bounce, and once the ball's bouncing, he's leaving that area completely, working right up to the half-back flank, and as we see now, he's flushing his way right through back to where he starts.
It's deep into attack for Essendon, put down, knocked out towards the square. Campbell came through, he's tackled, he's gone! He's gone! Beautiful tackle by O'Donnell, retarded Campbell, who did not attempt to get rid of 50 metres.
Well, Campbell tried to fend off O'Donnell, and gee, the signs are ominous. The umpires are going to screw the game up just for a start. Let's hope they can get back on track. Shocking decision early, Ron, as you pointed out. That
at point-blank range, O'Donnell in the goal square goes bang. One goal, Essendon. Richmond yet to score. Martello on the bench with Gary Brice.
Well, for Richmond, the interchange players are Prescott, Howard and Maxfield, and for Essendon, well, of course, Michael Long out of the team, Joe Mercuri coming in, and the interchange players, Doolan, Calthorpe and Mercuri.
Yes, and very good start by Essendon. Mind you, Richmond have had it down on their forward line just for as many opportunities, and 50 metres, hate to see that happen when you're 30 metres out, and hate to see a free kick given when it's not necessary.
Yes, well, Essendon are certainly putting the pressure on, opening up the centre bounce. They have all their players right round the boundary line, leaving lots of space up, so we have to watch that one.
Well, the umpires found a free kick to Broderick at the bounce. In fact, no, to Big Greg Deere against Somerville. So he kicks on the left foot, down beyond attacking 50. Benny Gale shoved out of it by Dustin Fletcher. No free kick, probably the right decision. And Fletcher kicks on the right foot from centre half back. He'll be looking for Alessio, who jumped over the back of Kellaway, who looks like he's got James Hurd. Kellaway on Hurd, and Alessio from the wing. Drives to a good lead from the young boy Lloyd. He almost got there. Couldn't take the mark. It's on 50. David Bourke takes it. Welcome back to footy. Well tackled. Lloyd went to Denham, who got it with quick hands to Olorenshaw. Salmon is in good position, but he's beaten by a great Scott Turner mark.
Yeah, Scotty Turner just nudged him under the ball there and then fell back with it, but I like the way Salmon's been attacking the ball.
The lead out from the bird, and Bauer has marked it on the right half-back flank. Now goes to wing. Here comes Charles. punched away O'Connor. It went over on the Ansett Australia side wing, more probably towards the half-forward flank on the left attacking flank. Kid, you call me.
Just interested there at the second bounce, then Sheedy had 9 players within 50 metres of his own goal.
Spinning back into play, and it was knocked out by Big Deer. The hand pass came out from Broderick to Campbell. Then the man Rowan Saws umpiring his 400th game in a few weeks. Well, he won't be because that's next year. But he's umpired a lot of games, Rowan Saws. He's now talking to the conviction, and Pryor is not over happy either with umpire Saws. The ball's put on the ground, it goes in the air and it's knocked out by O'Donnell. Came down to Bomber Thompson, kicked it down towards inside 50. Oh, there's a bit of pushing and shoving, but the ball will fall over the boundary line. And as I speak, the football went over the boundary line.
And it went out of play 30 metres around from the Essendon goal on a sunny day at the MCG, up toward 90,000 in. Essendon attacking the main scoreboard or city end. The Tigers down to the punt road end. The Bombers have got the first goal. At the throw-in, Ryan O'Connor got it to Denham. He kicks for the goal square. Oh, it bounced past all players, but went the wrong side. 1-1 the Bombers. Crown Casino's scoreboard. Richmond yet to score. Here's Ron Barassi coaching the Tigers.
Yes, one of my worries is Essendon's height, and I've been forced, though, even though I know this is a worry, to put have Alessio manned up by Wigney. Now, Wigney's got to be right on the job there because he's giving away at least about 10 centimetres in height.
Turner gets a warning from umpire Shannon, goes to the square and goes bang outside 50, looking down there for Deer. Alessio from behind. Deer couldn't take it. The hand pass by Rogers went out to Knights. Knights hand pass to Wigney on the screen over there to centre half forward. Going up, Oller and Shaw couldn't get it. Barry Young put his life on the line. Beautiful hand pass by Denham, got it to Wanganeen. A high Giraffe kick to half forward. Somerville goes up, knocked away, went Oller and Shaw. Pulled off, but he got his kick inside. That's Saville! And the big fish came down the edge of the wave. He actually surfed like he was going after a pilch at the big fish and fell into the grasp of the 6'9" fish.
Well, as Ron said, or no, Dermott just said, he liked the way Salmon was moving down there at full forward. Interesting to see up the other end of the ground. Benny Gale is at full forward in place of Jerica, I suppose. Fletcher at full back there, so Salmon a good chance to get his confidence up. He is certainly a confidence player.
No doubt about that.
6'9", you'd reckon you'd have the game by the throat on days like this.
35 metres, he's 35 metres, and he's now going to kick a goal. Straight through the eye of the needle goes Essendon's second goal. They're 2-1-13 Bombers. Richmond yet to score on the Crown Casino scoreboard.
Well, it was Paul Salmon once again. With the Gary O'Donnell goal, the first goal, it was Salmon who dished it out. It's a good indication with Salmon. If he is running to the bouncing ball, that is fantastic. That just means he's going to be in front for the kicks that drop short. He was there then and he read the ball beautifully. He took the ball on his chest.
You never have to worry, Rexy. I'll never talk over you while they're lining up for goals, so just remember that.
Here's the bounce in the centre.
It's okay, Ron.
And Denham very busy early. Doesn't get a clear position there though, Bondi. Barry Young applies a big tackle. Who's Sheedy using in the centre in place of Long? Can you work out that, Dermy or Sam?
The centre contingent for Essendon is Somerville, Denham, Young and O'Donnell. So I suppose you'd say Young's in there.
Okay, there's the bounce, and Somerville got a nice tap in the O'Donnell-Campbell direction. That's at the back of the square for the Tigers. High tackle. Richmond's free. It'll go to Bond or Campbell. Chrissy Bond to take it. How many stats early, Sean Denham, Bondi, for Tats Pokey?
He's had 4, 1 kick and 3 hand passes.
Great start to Sean Denham. As the Tigers go wide, Bond to tape was nice play. He goes up looking for Charles. Good thump away from Ryan O'Connor playing across half back. And then Thompson gave it to Wanganeen. And look at the Brownlow medalist roar along the southern stand wing. The kick wasn't all that good. It brought the youngster into the game, Lloyd. He waited on the outside, but a free kick to Essendon. James Hurd tackled without it, according to the umpire, and he'll kick long in the Salmon direction.
Towards the big fish, so 2 over the back. Turner, Alessio picked it up. Mercuri will pick it up and be tackled beautifully by Rogers. Picked up by Turner of Richmond. Good support by Bourke. Turner outside towards 50, marked by Chrissy Bond. Chrissy Bond on the right half-back flank for Richmond on the outer side of the football stadium, which is jam-packed with patrons here today. Second semi-final and Essendon lead 2-1-13. Richmond yet to score, coming up to 10 minutes in first term. The ball down to the wing and going up Young. Young of Essendon kicked it back inside. Looking down there for Denham, couldn't get it. Here comes Knights. Off the back line for Richmond, comes in front of the members stand. The loping player is Deer. Behind him is Somerville. Deer fell over, Somerville picked it up. Hospital hand pass over the top meant for Mercuri, but it went to the bird. Bauer got it off to Buck Rogers. Rogers marked and hand pass to Campbell. Campbell on the left boot towards a leading Naish. Naish has taken a beautiful mark on the left half forward flank. Here comes a lead from Benny Gale. Benny Gale comes out in front of Fletcher. Over the top, Fletcher hand passes Olerin Shaw, and Essendon on a break in defence.
Well, he got a bad bounce in the goal square. That might have been an uneven surface. But Al Martello commented earlier when he inspected the ground that Olerin Shaw came back to Member's back pocket and found Grenvold. They're booing him after the Grenvold Maxfield incident of the game a few weeks ago. Harvey was the target at centre half back, couldn't take the mark. Broderick stole it, gave it to Miranda back toward the goal square. All Bombers. You'll hear the boos for David Grenvold as he marks and kicks on left foot to Barry Young, who can run away from the Tigers' bond. He has a bounce, he's on the southern stand wing. He kicks now on the left foot, looking down for Simons or Hurd. Kellaway leads in the race to the footy. Simons got him. It was a wonderful tackle. Alessio got the crumbs underneath the southern stand. Hand passed inside to Denham. He's running toward 50. He sees Salmon. Salmon's there. Turner gets to the back, gets the footy and concedes a behind. I thought Salmon wasn't in bad position there, Sammy. Just couldn't get the grab.
And, gee, if you take this game as opposed to Essendon West Coast last week, I mean, there's no comparison, and they can boo Grenvold all he likes, but he's played very well on Daffy so far out of the back line.
2-2-14, Essendon Richmond yet to score. We've got 11 and a half minutes. Wing position is the football. Harvey versus Gale. Michael Gale grabs it, goes long, looking further afield for Charles. Charles is going to go up, punched away by O'Connor at the top of the boundary line. Graham Bond for Tats Pokies on 3AW football.
Well, Olerin Shaw's opened up well with free kicks, and Barry Young, 3 kicks and a hand pass for the Bombers out of the centre. 1-1 at this stage.
And thank you very much. The ball on its circumvolution back into the stadium, going up. O'Connor is besieged. Hand pass came out to Grenvold. Grenvold hand pass to Wanganeen. Wanganeen ran away from Naish, took a bounce and then kicked it out into an open space looking for Fletcher. Fletcher is out there. Margaret's taking a bit of a bounce. Margaret Fletcher on centre wing, kicked it into Bond. This could be a turnover. The loping player is Deer. Deer picked it up and kicked it inside, looking for Benny Gale. From behind, punched away down there. It's a crumb to Wanganeen. Wanganeen on the left boot, went back to Somerville. Over comes the young boy in Simons. He can't get it, but picked up beautifully by Somerville. He's got all day in front of the Nissan sign. He can hand pass it back to the Conviction. Prior Conviction off the half-back line down towards the wing position, but a good mark taken down there by Tape. Tape measure is too bad. He's played the Knights, 2 bounces. 3 bounces, runs to 50.
Terrific, our pressure, Richmond pressure on the forward line, kept up on the Essendon defenders, really forced that error in the finish, and terrific to see Knightsy do this because he's our acting captain. It'll give us a real spur on at a time when we really need it because they had 2 goals to zip in 13 minutes. That's no good.
Here's the bounce. Somerville gets the tap down. Mercuri might have got first hands on it. Rogers worried him out of it. Well done, Richmond. And Broderick then got it to Knights, who must be lifting with that last goal. Then the Bond all handballs to Bauer. Now a kick on the left foot, Bondy. He'll go long looking for Gale. Got up, couldn't take the mark. At ground level, Bomber Thompson cool to Dustin Fletcher, who finds O'Connor at the back of the square. And the game settles for a moment. And there's an Essendon change down here. Gary Brice for Harries.
Barry Young with an ankle injury's come off, and David Kelthorpe is on.
And he looked not too good there, Young, limping. Alessio's marked at half forward. Salmon's on a terrific lead. He's up. No, couldn't take the mark. Who's down? Plenty of Tigers. And Jamie Tape, a good start. Kicks wide and high, hoping the boundary will save him. It bounces awkwardly, bounces back into play. Bourke beat Pryor for the footy, and then it went over the boundary line. between wing and half forward flank Essendon in attack. Here's Sam Newman after 14 minutes of the first quarter.
Well, that ball came up to Essendon's forward line thanks to some fantastic work by Fletcher. Nothing startling, but so consistent and so disciplined to punch the ball away from Benny Gale, and the ball came up here as a result.
Knocked out by Broderick, got it to Deere, hand pass back to Campbell, right half back flank. One of the Brownlow medal favourites, Campbell, got a short kick out to the measure. And Tapers marked it adjacent to the Ansett sign on the left half-back, on the right half-back flank for Richmond. In front of a packed Southern stand. He's gone backhand now, forehand, and goes bang down there looking for Michael Gale on the wing position. He marks on true right wing position with the Tigers into attack now. To centre half forward at the punt road end. Here comes Charles. He's right over the back. The crumbs are there for Somerville. Somerville hand pass to Wanganeen. Wanganeen went forward and then back and kicked it across, looking further afield for Fletcher. Fletcher marks it on the opposite centre half back position. He brings it out. Oh, this could be danger. Rogers could be in the van. Here it is. Beautiful mark by Rogers. The kick was meant down there for Hurd, but Rogers slipped in and got it. He's kicked a long ball down towards Charles. From behind, Somerville goes up. He can't take it. Denham's got a hand pass out to Fletcher. Advantage play. Fletcher hand passes Oliver and Shaw, and Essendon off the half back line go bang. They're in a bit of trouble. There's a turnover to Miranda. Miranda's gone by the Yarra, and there's a beautiful mark down there by Wanganeen on the edge of the square, Kitty.
He's been brilliant, Bondi. What a Wanganeen stats early for Tats Pokey.
Well, he's coming in for his sixth kick. That was his first mark. His opponent, I think it's Naish, only had one touch.
Well, they're booing Wanganeen after his clash with Michael Gale, I think, the last time these sides played, but I think that was proven not to have been sustained after we saw some amateur video. And Denham having a wonderful start, runs away from full back and drives on left foot wide to Alessio, who jumps early. Oh, nice mark. How many marks, Stephen Alessio, Bondi?
3 marks, 2 kicks, 2 hand passes.
Well, there's a big right foot kick down in the Lloyd direction. Mercuri's there as well. Lloyd leads Bourke to the ball and takes a nice mark. And Bourke throws him to the ground. No 50. No sensible umpiring. They're not going to get sucked into that. Lloyd will kick on the left foot in the Salmon direction. Oh, it bounced just in front of the big man. Just couldn't take the mark. Stays in play, 30 from goal. Tigers will leave Bauer. Nice hand pass, and they're going to win it away. That was good footy. Hoping for Deere. Oller and Shaw got in front. That's a defensive 50, and the Tigers can run away. 1, 2, 3 bounces to Matty Rogers.
And on the wing position goes inside towards Miranda from behind. Tries to get it, but in front, Thomas Thompson. He's pulled off the ball and hand passes out to Wanganeen. Wanganeen takes it over the boundary line and out of bounds. There'll be no deliberate there, Tiger fans. Sit down. Take the top off another one and watch the umpire just grab this air conveyance and heave it back into the football stadium. Knocked out by Charles, knocked on further out of the pack. Harvey picked it up, but there's a free kick over the shoulder bowler holder to Harvey. And the former tractor driver of Windy Hill off the half-back line goes to wing. Grenbold, he's there, takes the mark. After misreading the play was the duck, Daffy, but the hand pass by Grenbold went to Denham. Here comes a lead from James Hurd. Beautiful mark there by Hurd in front. Did it beautifully in front of Callaway. Here comes a lead further afield from Salmon. Through his arms, he can't get there. Salmon is on hands and knees out the back to Mercuri. Mercuri kicks it off the ground to Simon. Simon's no talking, and it's kicked through by Richmond. No talking between Kelthorpe and Simons, and there should have been talking, Ronnie Barassi.
Well, there should have been, but I guess Dermott will have to send the runner out to say to the players, don't forget your talking, such a necessary thing.
That was just self-induced pressure there when he's running into the open goal and he had 5 yards spare.
No talking.
Dermott coaching the Bombers, Barassi coaching the Tigers here as Richmond bring it back into play. Long right footer from Bauer, finds Callaway, good mark. Out marking Oller Inshaw there, Alessio standing the mark. Half-back flank, right in front of you, Gary Brice and Al Martello. Covering the boundary today for Harries. Bond's on his own. He's on the centre line. He marks and plays on quickly. Goes for Benny Gale. Fletcher over the back. Oh, nearly got the hands on it, Benny. But in the end, O'Connor took it at ground level. Hand passed out of the traffic to Denham. He lost it. Well won, Broderick. A sea of Tigers. And he's picked out one of them. That's Daffy, 50 metres from goal. I think this is Daffy's first touch.
Yeah, first kick coming up, Shane.
He's a real goal kicker, Nick Daffy. You'll want him firing, Barassi.
Yes, I need him and Naish, of course. Both of them so far have been very well covered by the Essendon defenders.
So Daffy could kick this. He's right on 50, directly in front. It's going to be mighty close. It just stays in the field of play and wobbles over the boundary line, carried across past the behind post for a throw-in. What's happening from the Sheed side, Dermy?
Well, Barry Young obviously had the job on Broderick, but he's come off injured, so Calthorpe's gone on to pick up Broderick and hasn't adhered to the job too well so far.
Deep into attack for Richmond. It's thumped and it's over the boundary line again. What's your thoughts there, Ron Barassi?
Well, so far, Richmond are tending to just bomb the ball up to centre-half forward or full forward, and our men there aren't doing a job, and I can't really blame them because bombs are okay, but you need someone really in form in the air.
Knocked out, but it went to Wanganeen on the half-back line in towards the centre of the ground, marked by Mercuri. The thermometer on the half-back line now kicks it towards the lead of Alessio, who's a handful. He can't take the second grab. The duck is unleashed there with a hand pass. Shaw came out and hand passed to Denham. Denham floats out of the centre and runs the half forward. Bounces and runs to 50. Bounces and went down for a goal. Noble Trottings goal of the day contender. Absolutely magnificent from Donnybrush Denham. Essendon 3-3-21. Richmond 1 straight goal 6. Crown Casino scoreboard.
Well, an equally good goal by Denham then as Knights was for Richmond. And I think that's not a bad play by Denham to run the ball in there, because I don't think they're playing Salmon very well. I reckon if you're 6'10", I don't know why you'd be wasting your energy running around and leading too much. Get the ball down quickly to him and see if he can take a mark over the top of his opponent.
It was a great Denham goal. Might be a Mobiltronics goal of the final series contender. Knight sharks the tap out. He races out of the square. Here's the big left foot bomb. Here's another contender. What you can do, Sean Denham, I can do too, says Matty Knight, as he slams it home on the left foot. Knock that one down. You can win yourself $2,500 and a mobile phone if you choose the same way we did. Here's Sam Newman with Dermott, Brereton and Ron Barassi.
Well, that's 2 marvellous goals by Knights, but don't underestimate the significant role Greg Deere had in that. That was a perfect palm out from the centre, and Ron, that is getting the hit out, I agree with you, but it's hitting it to someone, and that's what he did, and there was no stopping that play out of the centre.
It was just fantastic, and again, as I said before about Knights' goal, exactly at a time when the lead to Essendon was getting a little bit too big.
Umpire Greg Scribb put the football down again, knocked on by Daffy to Deere. Deere hand pass to Daffy. Here comes a lead from Naish. Naish is up, Wanganeen there as well. The crumb came out and picked up by Fletcher. A mongrel finger breaking up country punt kick down towards the wing. Looking out there for Bomber Thompson. Good knock on by Miranda. The duck came through and Daffy kicked the giraffe kick inside 50. Looking for Benny Gale. Oh, we nearly had it. Wanganeen's got it. He's in trouble. Kicked off the ground by Naish. It's dribbling and dribbling behind the stick. Behind the stick went the football. Well, the first minor score to Richmond, 2-1-13, Essendon, 3-3-21, Crown Casino scoreboard.
Yes, I'm sending a runner out to Big Gale because he's just getting his hands to the ball but not holding him. Perhaps if he concentrates just a fraction more.
Well, at the kick-out, Matthew Knights has taken a spectacular mark over Gavin Wanganeen. Sam, describe what happened. It wasn't the best of kick-outs, but the mark was a ripper.
Well, he's having a sensational quarter. He had to sit on Gavin Wanganeen, got the knee into his back in that classic pose, which is absolutely legitimate in Australian rules football. And talk about 2 great goals on the run now. Here's a chance to kick his 3rd from a set shot. A fantastic piece of play, and I just want to mention while he's lining up, Fletcher, for 20 years of age, what a fantastic footballer.
35 out right in front. This could be a Billy Brownless first quarter for Knights. Oh, hit the post. Gary Brice for Harry's Liquor Market. Sheedy's got some real worries down there on the bench by the looks of things.
Yes, well, he's right. O'Connor has come off and looks like a hamstring, or it could be a recurrence of the groin injury he's had. So he's off, and Mercuri came on to take his place.
Okay, Fletcher just given a great rap by Sam Newman. 300-game veteran for Geelong now. Kicks out Fletcher and finds Grenvold in front of Rogers, and Grenvold's taken the mark on the right half-back flank. Kicks it outside 50. Here comes a lead down there from Salmon, and he's punched it away. Charles of Richmond, and the football went over the boundary line and out of bounds.
I tell you what, as the Essendon coach at the moment, I'll be infuriated with Sean Denham running with young Knights. He's not sticking to him.
Okay, the ball thrown back in. The hand pass by Shaw found Hurd. Hurd ran off the half-back line, kicked it in towards a lead down there for Mercuri over his head. The ball now spins in towards half-forward for Essendon. Here comes a race. O'Donnell hand pass on towards Mercuri. Mercuri couldn't control the ball. Kicked off the ground by Whitney. It came out towards Alessio. Kicked off the ground by the measure. And Chape's kick will dribble over the boundary line and out of bounds. Around about 32 metres around from the Essendon goal at the main scoreboard end.
Keep going, Rexy. I want to mention something in a minute. Keep going, son.
Spinning back into play. The ball comes out to Alessio. Maxfield got a hand pass off to the measure. Chape off the half-back line, got it further afield where Deere takes the mark and turns on a sixpence to half-forward with a nice kick. Looking down there for Broderick. He was out of play when he tapped it back in. Talking about taps, I'm being tapped on the shoulder. Hasn't happened for a while.
No, just some early logistical problems for Essendon. If O'Connor's off injured and Young's there with an ankle, they've got one more bloke to manipulate onto the ground, so only 3 interchange, so some early problems maybe for Essendon.
Salmon's having a run on the ball and got the tap down, but Richmond able to bring it away. Broderick has the kick smothered by Calthorpe. So what's Sheedy done with all these changes, Dermy? Have you been able to follow it?
Well, it's robbed Essendon of their goal-kicking power. Hurd has had to go back and fill the hole that O'Connell has left by going off.
So Hurd into the back line. Salmon got the tap down, went to the back, and Rogers actually read it better than anyone. Mercuri got him. Rogers hand pass to Charles.
Oh, rubbish. That is absolute rubbish, umpire. You can handball over your head as long as the holding hand doesn't move too far.
Well, they gave it a holding the ball to Essendon, or throwing the ball. Harvey goes wide to an Ola Inshaw-Kellaway battle. Looks like Ola Inshaw might have taken over the position. Hurd's had to lead. Kellaway won the battle and gave it to Miranda. Richmond 70 from goal on the boundary. Benny Gale looks dangerous. All got his hands on it. Just couldn't hold the mark. Ball spews free. 40 metres from Richmond's goal. Picked up Bombers. Well done, Grinbold. Dribbles one off the ground but straight to Kellaway, who chips into the pocket. And it's a Richmond mark to Justin Charles. Now he's close enough to kick this. He's out under the southern stand. He is about, I'd reckon 40 metres from goal. It's about a 70-degree angle. There's only 7 points in it. 3-3 to 2-2, Bombers up.
As Dermott said, what a real shame that Essendon have to put James Hurd, their prime mover, no doubt about that, on the forward line, down onto this man, Charles, just to see if they can arrest the situation while they reorganise the troops because of injury.
Well, they'll be probably pretty happy to see that siren go. Here's a kick after the siren to Justin Charles, maybe to bring Richmond back within a point. Oh, it's close. Right through the centre. Well done, Big Justin. And at quarter time, the Tigers are the side that are running full bore back to the bench, or back to their coach, and the Bombers walk back just a little bit disconsolate. Essendon by a point, 3-3-21. That's the Crown Casino scoreboard. Richmond 3-2-20.
Great lifter, as were the goals from Knights. Fantastic goals by that player.
Well, the scene's now set, isn't it, for a great game of footy at 3-3 to 3-2. Knights brilliant. He lifted the team when they needed it most. The Denham goal could have really broken their back at that stage. I know it's early doors.
He's a terrific player, Matthew Knights. Don't forget, Bruce, a couple of in the last 4 years, he's been very, very much in contention in Brownlow medals. And I think he's now realising that leadership is one of his qualities as well.
That counter-punch on Denham was probably the most significant play in the first quarter.
And he's the sort of player that he needs to get 15 or 20 possessions. Others need to get 30 to be the same quality. He uses it all so well.
Yeah, good point.
Quarter time in the Melbourne Cricket Ground, a full house. It's 3-2 Richmond, 3-3 Essendon. Welcome back, quarter time, Richmond 3-2, Essendon 3-3. Now, Barry Young's injured for Essendon, and so is Ryan O'Connor. And this is where he did his hamstring, Ross.
Yes, I thought late in the game last week, Bruce, he looked very proppy and came off. And here, there you see, chasing Matthew Knights, where he kicked that magnificent goal. So he's gone for the rest of the game. And Young, I would think, too, very proppy on that ankle. So they're playing too short, Bruce.
Well, are they down to 19 men, Essendon, as we go down and join Dipper and Russell Morris?
Yes, Bruce. Well, Barry Young has been trying to do some warm-ups throughout that quarter break, and Kevin Sheedy had a list of things to say to some of his players, just reminding him certain jobs they've got to do.
But also, there's Ross, you mentioned 2 guys that are missing. What about Michael Simon, has just come off a hamstring? But also, significantly in that first half of that first quarter, Richmond were beaten off that half-back line. Yeah. Essendon took over with Wanganeen and Fletcher and guys like, and also Thompson. But the second half, Knights is unbelievable, but also I think very significant was the tackle from Bauer on Mercuri running to an open goal. That might have turned it for them, Bruce.
Thanks for that. Yeah, good point, Russell, and Dipper there.
And Pryor has come off, Bruce, too, Michael Pryor.
Interesting. That's centre full houses we're into the break. As you look around, there are some empty seats, and you just wonder, a lot of people have been waiting to get in, and there are empty seats in some strange places here, so the ticketing is confusing at times, but there's an enormous crowd. Don't worry about that. There'll be over 85, probably over 90,000 here. It's a fantastic scene, but there are a couple of pockets of empty seats around the ground.
Charles starting at centre-half forward with Hurt picking him up. Harvey's got Michael Gale, Brendan Gale in the square being picked up by Fletcher.
Second quarter about to start. Semi-final between Richmond and...
Right, we need him right on him.
Umpire Saw starts the second term in beautiful sunshine, knocked out by Deere down towards Campbell. Holler and Shaw got one, and Deere kicked it forward, but here comes Hurd off the half-back line. Grabbed it the second time and kicked it down towards Simons. Simons taps it on beautifully to Alessio. Alessio tapped it on back to Simons on the half-forward line. Hand pass to Smoke and Joe Mercedes. Hand pass further. It was knocked away by the measure in tape. It went out to the half-back line. O'Donnell got a hand pass. He grabbed his own possession, but it went to Smoke and Joe Mercedes. Ball said the crowd in your boots, said the umpire, and the football went over the boundary line. Just forward of the centre wing with Essendon going to the punt road into the stadium. The umpire now hurls this football back into play. Did too. 7 minutes past 3 Eastern Australian time, says the clock. Tick, tick, tick as well. Knights overran the football. Smoke and Joe Mercedes came in. It was a British Bulldog job, and umpire Saws will bounce it on the Coca-Cola emblem.
We've got O'Donnell matching up on Campbell. I think O'Donnell got the better of him that quarter, and hopefully he can give us more drive off the centre of the ground on the wing.
So here's the bounce. It's on the centre line, and O'Donnell actually ruck-roved it, took it out of the air, kicked poorly. Doolan went in. He left it, in fact, for Mercedes, who tried to handball it out of the traffic. Umpire, that'll be umpire Saws this time, decides at the front corner of the square to ball it up.
4 out of 10, the umpires first quarter. Started off much better. Some decisions there they could have paid, but they let the flow go.
At the bounce, Alessio got the jab down. Oh, Denham got Knights that time, Dermott.
That's where we need him, right on his back.
What were Knights' stats early in that first quarter, Bondi?
He had a good quarter, Shane. 4 kicks, 3 hand passes, 2 goals, 1. But Denham had 5 and 5, so he had 10 possessions.
Alessio got the tap down. Campbell sharked it, went to Calthorpe. Lloyd's marked it. Well, this young kid is a real wild card. He came out in front of David Bourke, has taken the mark. He's 30 metres out. There's not a great deal of angle, and Dermott Brereton will be pretty happy so far with the youngster.
Yeah, well, he started him right back on the boundary line. Sheedy had him running up the field and back with the flight of the ball in the first quarter. It seems to be now he's leaving him down there and letting him play his game. He probably would have been worried about second finals match nerves here, so he had him moving around the centre of the ground to get his hands on the ball, get him used to the atmosphere. Now he's letting him settle into full forward, and this kid can really read the ball.
Okay, well, he's a left footer. He's at the punt road end. 35 out. I've painted the picture. The crowd will do the rest. And the young kid's missed it. Here's Sam Newman.
And despite what the crowd might have thought, that wasn't paid as a mark, that kick. That was paid as a push. That's the second free kick that he reckons Bourke's given away. Both of them, I think I agree with Ron, not warranted.
So at the punt road end, goal square, Turner's got a little short. It's Callaway. Callaway marks it still 10 metres inside the 50. He's got a 30-metre kick across to Buck Rogers. Rogers marks it a true centre half back on the edge of the square for Richmond and runs off and kicks it out onto the wing position looking for Bourke. Bourke will go up and take an uncontested mark in front of Mercuri. Standing the mark, Mercuri. Bourke kicked it over the top 17 metres and got it up to the bird. Now went off and bounced it 3 times as he runs to 50. And kicked it into the Olympic swimming pool. Off the side of the boot it was, and it sailed into the crowd and hit a bloke on the mush eating a pie.
Well, that was really bad luck for the Richmond side. Then they built that attack up beautifully. I think the ball was going to be bombed up towards Gale, who is really dropping a lot of balls that he's getting his hand to. And unless he holds them, we're in big stride.
I'm surprised Mercuri could actually put the foot on the footy after chasing Bow down the ground, but he got the kick into Doolan, who found Wanganeen at defence at 50, and his kick was pretty good. Bounces just in front of Olorenshaw, who hand passes to Alessio. He's dispossessed. Richmond's ferocity is fantastic, and Gale goes in, kicks it off the ground. In came Simons to dispossess him. Now it goes to a quiet Harvey. He uses his experience, dances around and drives to attacking 50. Wasn't a good kick though, and Broderick beat Calthorpe to the footy. He took the mark and brought it out to member side. Greg Deere takes the mark. And Sam Newman. You are a moron! Okay, I'm going to tell the folks what happened.
Please,
decisions. Deere took the mark. He put his elbow up as Lloyd came through.
You can't elbow him like
Oh, you can take the mark and just go back and have a kick.
Contact was made before he actually raised his elbow. I agree wholeheartedly with you there, Sammy.
And now Lloyd from 60 has gone to Salmon, who's about just inside 50. 45-degree angle, members side to punt road end. It's Essendon by 2 points in this semi-final. Bull dust they're calling, and it's not bull dust. 5 minutes, second quarter. Have a listen to that through the 3AW sound effects microphone. We'll be arguing about that decision all day. Here's Salmon. And it's home. I think it's got through. Yes. 2 to 7. It was mighty close. That was a very good kick, Sam, from Salmon.
That was a magnificent kick by Salmon. That was nice height. He really got his legs through that, and as I tell you, his second goal, and he looks to be in pretty confident form. Salmon, he'll get better as the game goes.
Yep, exactly.
What a pressure kick from a fantastic player. Channel 7 today, tonight's scoreboard. And Essendon 4-4-28 and Richmond at 3-2-20. Perfect conditions for football and a beautiful bounce. Here come Richmond out of the centre with Miranda. Took a bounce now, and his green-soled boots shine in the light as he kicked it to the left half-forward line. Good play, Michael Gale. He got a hand pass across to Charles. Charles run into the square at centre half-forward and kicked it down to Benny. Goal! But you cannot pull a player off when the football is not within 15 metres. He pulled a player back, and the ball wasn't in sight as the football came out from Bomber Thompson. Down towards the Anthem Australia side, what I say? I don't even know. The football now kicked back inside with Bomber Thompson. Bomber Thompson picked it up, and he's kicked it beautifully to the track to driver in Harvey on the right half-back flank. You cannot wrench or pull a player from behind when the football's not there, kid. You idiot.
That's beautifully explained, Rex. And now down toward the centre, Alessio. Nice palm to Simon, who finds Mercuri. A goal coming up. He hand passes to Calthorpe. He runs inside 50, and it's home. From Essendon, and they go to 5-4-34. Richmond 3-2-20. 7 minutes second quarter. Channel 7 tonight's scoreboard. Here's Sam Newman before the Tiger coach.
Well, that reverse decision of Deere's mark to give Essendon a goal has really spurred Essendon. They thought, well, maybe the gods are with us. Just on that point with Deere, look, technically, the opposition player suffered no distress from that at all. It wasn't in the spirit of the game. Who was it? Lloyd. Just really bad umpiring.
The ball in the centre again, and here come Richmond trying to get it. Denham's hand pass was thwarted. Matty Knight picked it up on centre wing and exploded away and bounced it twice. Ran to left half forward. 3, 4 bounces, 5 bounces. Mogul trotting, kick, goal, and the and Richmond 4-2-26, trail Essendon 5-4-34.
Well, if ever you've heard of a captain's game, this so far from Matthew Knight is it. It's just absolutely superb. He just, every time Essendon getting out to an uncatchable lead, he just brings it back that little bit and helps us out.
Oh, I'll tell you what, you've got a couple of great nominations there for the Mobiltronics goal of the final series, worth $2,500. Knight's brilliant. Harvey gave it to Ollerenshaw, who gave it to O'Donnell, Bondi. And O'Donnell got a kick wide to the southern stand wing. Mercedes got there ahead of his opponent's hand, passed it backwards to O'Donnell, who kicks on left foot, hoping for Calthorpe. And he marks in front of Broderick. He played on. Oh, he played on umpire. And the umpire's going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Now he plays on. He runs to his right foot. He hand passes in front of himself. It reaches 50. He's still got it. Now he's gone. But it carried over the boundary line. And they are going to throw it in. How did you see that, Sam Newman?
I thought that was pretty reasonable, Shane. I think the play was over and done with because it was out of bounds.
That's the only way out of it.
Well, we're going to have...
And I'm just sending a message out to Gale that we'll give him 1 more minute to get himself together. In fact, the coach has already moved him up the field to try and get him into the play, and not doing those undisciplined things of pulling a man back
Bond relieves for the Tigers, but O'Donnell holds Richmond up on the centre line, gives it to Denham, and he's running forward now and will drive long on the left foot.
A long dunny brush, Denham kicked down on Lloyd. What a marvellous player this man is. There's no 50. But kid, he's just a kid, and he's really showing something today.
The thing he's got on his side, he's playing on another kid, young David Bourke, so he's just as experienced and probably better experienced than him in this match.
Very good point, Dermott. Just going to say that, absolutely.
This time last year, both he and David watching Burton Ernie. But 25 million people resting on this kick today. As Lloyd goes bang, it will hold up on the edge of the square. Salmon is up, but there's a free kick to Essendon. You shepherded him, you've done it again, and umpire Saws has speed camered the Richmond side again and stopped him going for the ball, did he? On the
Yeah, he took a pace into his line when the ball was still in transit.
Alessio kicked his first goal. Essendon have gone on a 6-4-40. The Tigers are 4-2-26. Channel 7 tonight's scoreboard.
But Dermy, he took a pace. Is it worth a free kick?
He took his eyes completely off the ball. If you watch it on the replay there, if he took his eyes completely off the ball and pushed Alessio away from the contest. You can't do that. You're allowed to go for the ball and impede their line as long as you're going for the ball yourself.
What's happening on the stat sheet, Bondi, for Tatch Pokies?
Well, free kicks 11-4 in favour of the Bombers. The Tigers are winning out of the centre 7-2.
Well, they're not putting it on the scoreboard. Now Essendon lose it out of the centre again. Kick off the ground here, almost to the front of the square. Richmond thought Broderick should have had a holding free kick. They've gone berserk, the Tiger supporters. It wasn't paid. Fell to Mercuri, who kicked long, hoping for Simons. But back goes Jamie Tate. He's playing a good game across half-back. He chips to Miranda below us here. Members wing. The game just slows for a moment. Essendon 40, Richmond 26. It's on the centre line. Whitney takes the mark. 3 goals tonight, 2 to Salmon. Been a wonderful game of footy so far. Whitney up to half forward. They need a grab from big Benny Gale. Harvey affects the spoil. It's close to the boundary. Calthorpe takes it. Wobbles a hand pass along the boundary to Mercuri. Back to Calthorpe. Good football, Essendon. Calthorpe wobbles it further than the wing. Almost to half forward where Simons comes in. Meets Jamie Tate very hard. And it's over for a throw in. How are you seeing it, Sam Newman?
Well, it's a tremendous physical game. Very, very quick game. Played at a frenetic pace. Essendon, as Graham Bond said, had by far the better of the decisions, and I think that's the only thing that's the difference between this game at the minute.
Deere knocked it down to Denham. He got it down. Pressure got Simon, who tapped it back to Denham. Denham over the top of the ball with Daffy. The umpire Sheed will put the football down. Is the kid Dermott Brereton on 3AW.
I'd be looking at moving Tony Simons at the moment. Being a forward, he's out of sorts. His timing is out. Get him up the back line, get him in the centre of the ground somewhere, just so he can get roughed up and get his hands on the ball and get the feel of the ball, then throw him back down the forward line.
Thank you very much for that. The ball on the left half forward flank for Essendon, going down to the punt road end, knocked out by the measured tape, and it's over the boundary line. Barassi right across Australia.
Well, I'm very pleased with our boys so far. We're keeping in the game, but we're not getting anything from our overhead marking. We've lost a bit of height, of course, with our injuries. This is a worry.
Alessio and Whitney. 10 metres outside, 50 for Essendon. Knocked out by Campbell, went to Matty Knights. Over the top is Calthorpe. Play on, said the umpire Sheehan. Now he's going to bounce it as we go to Martello on the bench.
Well, Richmond got a few problems down on that forward line. The runners going down there. They're very, very small down there with Broderick and Gale in that forward line, right on the last line.
Here's Shane Healy.
Thanks, Rexy, and Alessio got the tap down to Mercuri, who hand pass to Denham, who hand pass to O'Donnell. Essendon forward of centre. O'Donnell looking for Hurd. He's up. Good spoil. Charles falls for Lloyd. He overruns at 30 out, and a good kick off the ground by Scotty Turner out toward the southern stand half-back flank, where Rogers chases. Gets there first, and now runs. And this is what Richmond have done when they've scored goals. Off the ball, a Richmond player's gone down. I think Wanganeen may have been reported. Or Mercuri, Rick.
Number 2, Mercuri.
Yep, Mercuri it was. Now Richmond attack down toward half forward. Wanganeen's there, pulls them up. Gives it to Calthorpe, some clever turning out of trouble. Finds Somerville back pocket Mendes side. He hand passes off now to his captain, who'll kick on the left foot here. under a bit of pressure down toward the centre. Denham waits for the ball to come and it doesn't come. Daffy pushes forward, kicks down to the goal square. All Essendon back there, and Somerville holds the Tigers up. Richmond 4-2-26. Essendon 6-4-40. It's 14 minutes, second quarter.
Somerville goes right across the square and finds Hurd on the back pocket, and he kicks it outside 50 to Red Simons, who marks and kicks it to an unchecked Smokin' Joe Mercuri. There's the Crown Casino sign glistening in the afternoon light as Smokin' Joe kicks it inside 50. Alessio, oh, right over the back, Scott Turner. Here comes young Lloyd, pushed onto the football, but Callaway came out of the mire. He kicked it off the half-back line onto the wing where Harvey takes a beautiful mark in front of Benny Gale. He's really going to struggle, Benny Gale, with his confidence, Ron.
Yes, and 40 minutes centre-half forward, we need to play a little bit more and see if we can readjust what's going on with his head. But still, his hands are the worry. But Harvey played that game, that marking contest brilliantly by being in front, being the short man, his only chance.
Experience for you. To half forward goes Harvey, knocked off the pack by Bond, came down towards Doolan. Doolan kicked it inside 50. The hand pass by the tape, got it across to Campbell, whose high ball went out, and Harvey's taken another mark. He's taken a mark. He's nearly been decraniumised by Buck Rogers. But Harvey is an old campaigner, and on the emblem for Coke, he kicked it inside looking for Alessio. Nearly a double job there. The bird came out for Richmond, and Bauer took it one way, put it down, and then banged it outside 50 towards the centre of Benny Gale. He's up, can't take it. Beautiful play by Hurd, knocked on by Broderick to Michael Gale. Michael Gale run to 50, and he's kicked a behind-the-stick job for Richmond, who are now 4-3-27, 13 points down on Essendon, 6-4-40. Channel 7 tonight scoreboard.
James Hurd playing at centre half back is drifting into the forward line, and Sheedy must be listening to us. He's got Tony Simons in the back line now.
So Simons up back with Doolan. They combined just a moment ago, Bondi, to look for Ricky Olorenshaw out there in front of the Harry's Liquor Market sign, and then below the Southern Stand, it's gone over for a throw-in. Who's Tony Simons? Michael Simons.
Oh, Tony Simons used to play at Hawthorn. Sorry.
That's all right. We know who you mean, Dermott.
Right, Michael Simons.
Now, down to you, Big Al. There was a tiger change there for Harry's.
Yeah, Maxfield's come on, and Naish is the player that's come off.
Well, he had to do that because Naish wasn't getting a sniff of the ball up forward.
Essendon attacking forward. Alessio out on a good lead. Takes the mark, 50 from goal. And I think he's going to have a shot here. Essendon doing okay in the midfield, Sam. They're getting their share of the footy.
Yes, they've got some very good on-ballers. I just wanted to mention, and I'm not going to have time to show, and I want you to call Alessio's kick. I wanted to mention Mercuri and Bow when they came back to one another.
Okay, Mercuri reported, we believe, for that incident. Alessio can make the distance here. This is very close. I think it's a goal to Essendon. Yes.
Big kick. Big kick.
Through to Alessio. Brereton coaching the Bombers in the box. There's a real big kick.
That is a sensational kick. When the man on the mark is standing on the 50-metre line, it is a sensational kick.
Sam Newman.
And that's as good as Paul Salmon's. And some changes on the bench. We'll get the boys down on the ground shortly. But I just wanted to mention Mercuri and Bauer. When Mercuri came back to pick Bauer up or vice versa, there was no hard words, no recriminations. I think Bauer might have thought it was in the spirit of the play or just in the course of play, so there was no to-do, no worrying about it.
Umpire Greg Scribb starts proceedings again. Salmon wins it in the centre of the ground. Grenville gets a hand pass out. It went out towards Salmon, who turned on a sixpence and kicked it down towards Denham. Down there also is Big Alessio again, kicked off the ground by Denham. Here comes Tate, he kicked it off the ground and it went out to the bird. Bauer plays it on in front of himself, in front of the Ansett sign. His hand pass was taken by Alessio, who pulled it across his body and kicked it out on the full.
Yes, Gale has been moved from centre-half forward, full forward originally, then centre-half forward, and he's now down at centre-half back on Alessio, a bit of height against height.
The black and yellow are there, and there's the right honourable member for Tullamarine, Bernie Finn, taking the top off another one as he kicks it outside 50 towards Alessio, couldn't take it. Picked up by O'Donnell, his hand pass went into Donnybrush. Could not hold the Denham because I put too much into the Donnybrush, but it was Denham, and he went bang from 42 metres. He got his second, and Essendon bound to 8:4:52. Richmond at 4:3:27. Proud of the Channel 7 tonight's scoreboard.
Why would there be two complete sections of the stand not occupied up there, Shane?
Or maybe Mobile and Ready Mix have got all their seats taken behind the glass in the box, Sam, and they're not sitting out in the sunshine. There's the bounce. Down to you in a moment, Barrel. Here's Knights again. He's raced out of the centre. He's had a shot from 60. This won't be a goal, I don't think. No, it was touched. Touched very late by Calthorpe. And Matthew Knight, give us his stats, Bondi, for Tats Pokies.
He's had 6 kicks, 3 of which have been centre clearances, 3 hand passes. He's kicked 3 goals, 2 now, in a lone effort for the Tigers.
Fletcher kicks in for Grenvold, who marks. Hasn't gone anywhere near Maxfield yet, we don't believe. He doubles around Charles, and from 30 metres from Richmond's goal finds Simons. He's having a horrible day. He drops an easy mark, plays on, gets the hand pass just in time. His captain makes it good. Bomber Thompson goes wide to Denham, who kicked that last goal. He kicks long on left foot. Oh, the young boy Lloyd got up, couldn't take the mark, could spoil Richmond. In the end, the hand pass was errant. Pryor goes in, tackles Bond, and goes to Denham at the front of the square. Danger. It goes to Mercuri, and it's a goal. A great goal from Mark Mercuri. Johnny Turner, I think, lost it in the goal square. I thought he was going to touch it. Here's Sam Newman.
And if ever there were a chance then for Bauer to even up, because he was the tackler coming on Mercuri, and he didn't. So I don't think there's too much animosity between those players, because he had a perfect opportunity to go right on with it.
OK, let's get down to you, Gary Brice, see what's happening on the Essendon bench. Compliments of Harry's Liquor Markets.
Well, a couple of minutes ago, young Lloyd came off, and you called Pryor. He was the player that came on and replaced him in the forward pocket.
Thank you very much. Mercuri, his second goal for the day. Here come Richmond trying to get another one back. Rogers, he upset himself and dropped it, but hand pass off to Miranda, who took a bounce. Those lime green boots shining in the afternoon light. That's 4 bounces. Ansted signed. Nissen signed. Left-footed in towards the square. Here comes Hurd. Oh, just beautiful play by Hurd. You had the glasses on that, Sam, and that was great play.
Yes, cool under pressure, like Fletcher for his years, just so experienced and so collected.
Experience is Bomber Thompson accepts the kick. He's kicked it out onto the wing. Open John Northey taken the mark. Goes by the cape over the top. They can raffle it. Gunny Bruce Denham. Other is Shaw. Denham left half forward. Denham forward went by the cape, and Turner marked it just on the line. And just took it beautifully and kicked it outside 50, looking for Rogers.
They need some rebound, the Tigers. Come to you, Ron, in a moment to see what they can do as he runs down that southern stand side and looks for Michael Gale. Went up one-handed, that wasn't good enough. Simon's weighted down, bumped by Gale, but Simon stayed on his feet, well done. Oh, he's ridden into the ground in a ferocious tackle. Ball spears free. Wanganeen darts one way, then the other. All class. And chips across the half-back line to James Hurd.
The boys on the bench, keep your eye on Campbell. He's got one finger going by the cape. They've got to pull it back in.
Here's Hurd now, looking for Bomber Thompson. He can't take the mark. Tigers attack up towards full forward. Oh, Grenvold got one, and it was Maxfield. So just maybe that was the even upper from a few months ago. Grenvold is down. Keep an eye on that one, Rexy. It's on the centre line. Richmond's on the burst. A chance for Greg Deere. Gets it to Knights. He's tackled by Buller. Dispossessed. Essendon going in hard. 70 metres from Richmond's goal. Knight still works away. Ball up now.
Here comes the doctor to have a look at Grenvold. He copped one like a Mack truck. And Wayne Campbell, I said, big fellow Martello, his finger was pointing towards Port Phillip Bay.
Yeah, they can't catch up with him, Rex, to pull it back in. The trainer's still with him.
Okay, the dislocation still goes on as Red Simon's off the half-back line. Tony Simons, I should say, down towards the wing position. Alessio is there, stacked on the middle, and umpire Scrip will bounce. And now they've got Campbell, and bang goes the finger back in. Now they still can't get it in. And that's causing pain. Sometimes, kid, they have to give it a bit of a jab and break it. It might do that at half-time because we're within the shadows of the post, and Richmond certainly need one, Kitty.
Yeah, they do. And talking of the kid, did you see Maxfield and Grenvold's clash, Dermy?
I was watching there pretty hardly, but he had his back to us, so any contact was obscured from our angle, but it doesn't surprise me one bit.
I think you've been part of a few of those in finals over the years. It's on that southern stand wing, just wobbled over the boundary line. So Barrel and Al for Harry's. You can just take a breath and tell us what's happening down there.
Well, yes, it wasn't a bad little crunch, that one, directly in front of us, but the Essendon team, obviously not a lot of flexibility with those two injured players in Young and O'Connor, and of course young Lloyd, after doing well early, has been taken off the ground.
Okay, that's scary Brice for Harry's in a moment, Al, as the ball comes to Richmond's half-forward line. Grenville carries it over. Tiger supporters boo him. He's got his comeuppance from Maxfield. Back to you, Al. Martello for Harry's Liquor Market.
He's done well to get back too, Shane. Wigney's gone to centre-half forward. They're falling badly down across there. Now Charles now at full forward, hopefully trying to lift them across there.
Barassi will give us a few ideas of what Northey can do in a moment. Salmon beat Deer in that tap down. It wobbles back to the boundary. Here's Ron Barassi.
Well, it is our big man department that's letting us down. We're not taking any marks at all. We've had Charles and Wigney moved around. Brendan Gales in his third position. And of course, Deer could be an influence too now if he could just get into the play and be a little bit more than an average ruckman.
The ball on the left half-forward flank for Richmond, who are 5 goals down, approaching half-time, and umpire Greg Scroop will bounce. We'll go down to you, Gary Brice, again at ground level.
Yes, we've got... I'm looking at Richmond, and Naish is almost ready to come back on, and we haven't been able to see who's coming off at this stage.
They certainly need to lift the Tigers, Gary. Back to you shortly. It's on the left half-forward flank. Knights is there as usual. We'll come to you now, Gary. There wasn't any talk before by Essendon, but are Richmond enthusiastic enough from the talking point of view?
Well, there's plenty of talk down here, that's for sure, but Essendon just seem to be capitalising on the Richmond mistakes and, broken out to a 5-goal lead, which is quite significant at this stage of the game.
Gary Brice for Harry's, Ron Barassi in a moment. It's 26 minutes, second quarter. Nearly 90,000 here for the semi. Bombers on the Tigers, haven't played in a final for 50 years, and at the moment it's the Dons. Here's Barassi coaching the Tigers.
I just named my big men, and of course, if the big men aren't marking and they're not marking, the ball goes to the ground. That's where you need your small players. And we've had good players during the year in Naish and Daffy getting quite a few goals between them and Broderick. And today we've seen hardly anything from those 3 players.
Deer jumped into Salmon. Salmon fell over. The whole ground shook. Didn't matter. No free kick, and it was good umpiring. Gale goes in. All the tackling's intense. Gale got a high one there, I fancy. Oh, he's courage personified, isn't he, Michael Gale? He's not been all that busy though, Bondi, or has he?
Well, he's doing better than his brother. Michael Gale's at his 5th kick. Benny Gale's yet to have a stat.
Oh, that's terrible, isn't it, as Michael Gale goes up to an ordinary lead from Charles. Essendon's just doing it too easily out of defence. Wanganeen tidies up from Southern stand back pocket, brings it to Memphis back pocket up there at the main scoreboard end, and Joe Mercuri leads up to take the mark. Now O'Donnell leads for Mercuri, and O'Donnell marks at Richmond's attacking 50. Near the boundary in front of Wayne Campbell. What are their stats, O'Donnell and Campbell, Bondi?
O'Donnell coming in for his 8th kick and 3 hand passes. Wayne Campbell 5 kicks and 1 hand pass.
O'Donnell wobbles one to James Hurd, who's having to play off the back line, as you heard Dermy say, because O'Connor is off the ground. Young went off early. See, the game slowed here now just on half-time as Alessio leads up and takes the mark. And he drives along the wing. 9-4 Essendon, 4-4 Richmond. Pack goes up, Rogers, Harvey there. Now, Harvey on the forward line now, Dermy. It's over for a throw-in.
Yeah, Harvey's starting in the forward pocket at the bounces, or when the ball's static, he starts very deep and he runs up to the contest.
A change for Richmond, down to the bench.
Where is he? Daffy's come off the ground, and on comes Naish.
Yes, thank you very much. The ball on the half-back line for Richmond, now onto the wing position. Here comes Rogers. He hand passed it along. Gary Brice must be a concern for Richmond people if Benny Gale hasn't touched the football.
Well, he's had an opportunity to take 4 marks in that first quarter, and they all popped out. So obviously he needs to really concentrate a bit better.
Perhaps we get him into the ruck and we get him just to take the football. He's no good where he is at the moment, Swooper. The ball now in contention for Doolan's kick through the maze. A mongrel finger-breaking punt. Down to Waller and Shaw, knocked it on Mercuri. Down towards the player there in the young boy in the conviction. Pryor is there too. Knocked on by Bourke. The conviction right on his hammer. It came out to Bourke again. Beautiful play by Bourke off the half-back line in front of the Nissan sign. He kicked it down to the wing position, but he's kicked it out on the full. But that was very, very good play by Bourke that was marred by an over-the-boundary job. And that is disappointing for Richmond, who are having not a good day at the moment, as Red Simons kicked it inside 50. Somerville is up, punched away by Turner. It came out with a fresh air shot by Oller and Shaw, picked up by Hurd. But the umpire heard the siren, and Richmond supporters will go absolute hate-droppings. Let us hear what they have to say about the umpires.
Well, you'll probably hear it a bit closer as they come over to the dugout where they walk off. I possibly think that they've been a little hard on Richmond, but mind you, Essendon have made all the running, and usually the side that has the running does get the advantage, so 5 goals is a pretty handy lead at this stage. So I don't know that we'd take too much, but they're coming over now to see if they inspire any sort of angst, Ron.
No, because there's no Richmond people there.
There's not one.
There is not one Richmond person near the umpires. If they came over here, hey, fair dinkum,
they wouldn't get off.
It would be like you walking down Bourke Street backwards in a stoop position. So at half-time, Essendon certainly... Well, I just got to throw these in because you never, ever get a chance like the chance of the moment. And Essendon 9-4-58 at half-time. Lead Richmond 4-4-28. For Essendon, Salmon, Denham and Alessio have 2 goals. And for Richmond, Knights has 3 goals.
Just a quick one. What are the free kick stats before we go to our break?
At half-time, it was 11-6 in favour of the Bombers.
This is 3W football. Well, Essendon have had a magnificent quarter where they kicked 6 goals, 1 to Richmond's 1 goal, 2. The crowd have gone absolutely berserk at a number of umpiring decisions, but Essendon by 5 goals at half-time. For the Bombers, Salmon, Denham and Alessio have kicked 2 goals, and for Richmond, a lone hand is their skipper in Matthew Knights. Certainly, Essendon look the goods at half-time. It is tough, it is rugged. There are a lot of mistakes being made under pressure, but here's Graham Bond with a story on paper so far. And for some of the Richmond supporters, some disappointing news. They need a couple of players to lift.
Well, certainly the second quarter, Rex. 86 possessions to Essendon, just 42 for the Tigers, 27 marks to the Bombers and 11 marks to Richmond. The big man department, Greg Deer's taken 2 marks. Brendan Gale yet to have a possession, no kicks, no marks, no hand passes. Justin Charles has taken 2 marks and Scotty Turner's taken 2. But it's the Essendon midfield with Denham with 9.
Time of the Melbourne Cricket Ground as we welcome you back, and Ross, Essendon leading by 30 points over Richmond. A long way to go for the Tigers.
Well, they really asserted themselves, Essendon, didn't they, Bruce, in that second quarter, and we may look at the stats later on, but they really did get a lot of the football and they were very direct. And unfortunately for Richmond, Bruce, their midfielders were reduced, therefore their forwards weren't fed well enough, and their big fellows, the likes of Wigney, Gale, that's Brendan Gale, Charles, can't get into the game. And here we see Denham just kicking a magnificent goal, and that's typical of some of the goals that were kicked today. Naish has been outstanding with his 3 goals, Bruce. You won't see better goals carrying the ball for so far and then finishing off so well. Here we go with one of them. Just his finishing ability. Looks a bit awkward when he bounces the ball, but by geez, he straightens up and is so effective. That's almost kicked from 50, and that really was a team lifter in that first quarter, and you thought, now that's got to get them going. Get them up, Bruce. But then it needed him to continue that in the second quarter, which he lacked a lot of support. And here we see Calthorpe, who came onto the ground, and he really has been terrific. Just his strength, Bruce, and his running ability, and he matches up so very well with the midfielders of Richmond. Knights for another one here. This is just magnificent. Had support from Campbell outside. O'Donnell came toward him. He just went around so easily, and to finish like this from that area, particularly when you've run so far, Bruce, isn't that easy. And he just did it so very, very well.
The umpiring, it's been controversial from Richmond's point of view, hasn't it?
Yes, well, it's interesting that Kevin Sheedy was complaining about the umpires through the week, and it's turned around in their favour. You don't say that's the reason why, but by gee, it's been a real turnaround for them. And a couple of critical decisions given their way has made all the difference, really.
Match stats from Mitsubishi Motors.
Yes, we can see that Essendon really do get a lot of the football throughout the year, and they've continued it on today. Richmond tend to be more direct, but today they just haven't been able to get it direct at all. They've had no one to kick to. And inside 50, they've gone inside that area 28 times to 30, Bruce, to Essendon. So they've had the chances, but just had no one there to be able to convert it all.
Score fluctuations, we'll see the gap growing and growing and growing with Essendon in the red and Richmond in the green, and pretty flat Richmond in the second quarter, but for the Knights' goal.
Yes, I mean, you admire their work ethic, Bruce, but sometimes they're just working too hard. They're not getting the football, and when they do get it, they're so weary, they're not getting any quality out of it.
So that's the scene at half-time. We'll take a break and hopefully talking to Francis Bourke after this. Essendon kicked 6-1 in the second term, Richmond 1-2, and at half-time the Bombers by 30 points, 9-4 to 4-4. Ross, who better to talk to than Francis Bourke at half-time? 5 times a premiership player at Richmond, twice. In 2 years he was captain, he coached the team, he also was the chairman of selectors. He's done a lot, and his son is playing today, David Bourke. Francis, not such a good story at half-time though. What was the young boy like today? Very nervous about being called into play?
Well, actually, I didn't see him at all, Bruce. I went to work at 3 a.m. because I'm a news agent, and naturally David was in bed asleep. So, but yesterday and Thursday, of course, when he realised he was in the side, I think that the enormity of the task and the occasion was really starting to strike home to him.
Francis, look, Richmond 30 points down. In your opinion, what do you think can happen? What sort of moves would you make? Because you've been around the club for a long time.
Well, I think we've got so many of our better players down, Russell, that they've shaken the side up quite a lot in the second quarter, and that was fair enough. But I think you've got to go back and put your players in the positions where you think they're best suited, and take the punt, because we didn't have the answers in the second quarter, and we've just got to go back to the strengths that we know we've got, and in the positions where players have played well during the course of the year.
That's like Daffy on half-forward line. Benny Gale, obviously, if he keeps trying to mark the ball, sooner or later it's got to stick, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, he's not having a good day, but we're also getting beaten at the crumbs at the foot of the pack too, which has been one of our strengths, Russell.
Francis, would you bring Prescott on some fresh legs in the second half? He's been sitting on the bench for the first half.
Well, personally I wouldn't, because I think that we've just got to hope that the Matthew Knights and the Paul Brodericks and the Chris Bonds, I'd be more inclined to play Chris Bond on the ball and in a more offensive role, and perhaps use Ashley at least for the first few minutes of the third quarter, and try and get some creativity into our game, I think, Ross.
Francis, you've been chairman of selectors previous to this year, and you're around the club when Alan Jeans was there. What influence did Alan Jeans have on the young kids, and also yourself as a coach at Richmond?
Oh, well, Alan Jeans is a lovely man, and it was a great feeling of camaraderie in some very difficult times at the club at that stage. And but Alan had an enormous impact on the Wayne Campbells and the players of that ilk, who were just virtually cutting their teeth in league football, in terms of exposing them to the workload and to the professionalism that was going to be needed if we were going to get back into as a force, Russell.
Francis, as a former coach and also having played with both of these men, you played in premierships with both John Northey and Kevin Sheedy, so you know them both very well. From Sheed's point of view, just from Essendon for a moment, I mean, what's stood out from your point of view with their performance in the opening half?
Oh, I think their versatility, Bruce. I think that if you play well during the course of a game against Essendon, you're going to have to beat about 3 or 4 different opponents, and you know, they were able to put Mercuri onto the ground and switch Denham into the centre, and generally change the combination until they came up with something that was a bit more efficient than the one that was operating in the first quarter and hour of the game.
Francis, what do you think has changed around the club over the past 4 or 5 years? Like, obviously Richmond have struggled, haven't been in the final since '82. What is it about it? Why have they got that doggedness about them this year? Why they never say die?
Well, I think that you've got to give a lot of credit to John Northey and to Kevin Morris for that, and I think that the players also have got better and more competitive, and certainly they've got a bit of a sniff here during the course of the year, and certainly the second half of last year even, where they began to experience and savour some of the success. And I think that because the club's been down for such a long time, and some of the players have been through some really low times, I think that's an extremely motivating factor when you do actually get a taste, Russell. Certainly.
Thanks for that, Francis and Russell Morris. And Ross, will take a break. One of Richmond's greatest sons, Francis Bourke, whose son is playing today, David Bourke. Back with the second half after this. Welcome back, the chairman of the AFL Commission, John Kennedy, one of the famous names in football, and Ross Oakley with him, the chief executive. 4-4 to 9-4. That's the half-time score. Richmond just coming back onto the arena. Essendon have been out there for about 3 or 4 minutes as we go down and join Dipper and Russell Morris.
Thanks very much, Bruce. Essendon in that last half, or last quarter, played excellent football, fine bit of space around the middle.
Oh, certainly. Look, I think it was all about the on-ballers, but I think a significant turning point was when that free kick was given against
you weren't happy about that, were you?
I was screaming, because then after that, we had Salmon kick the goal. It was a beautiful goal, and then Calthorpe and Denham. But really, as Francis Bourke pointed out before, the crummers around the ground, like Naish has kicked 3, and that's significant. Richmond only kicking 4 goals. You know, Denham, Oliver and Shaw, Mercuri, these guys are just chopping them up. And also Richmond are struggling in the forward line. They don't have any...
And we'll talk about finals, Flo. We'll talk about players putting their hand up. And Matthew Naish today, a great performance. But Brendan Gale on the other side, who's been terrific all year, just can't get the mark.
Yeah, well, at least... I know it's difficult in those times. If he keeps going for them, I'm sure Ross will agree, if you keep going, the more times you have a go, you'll at least maybe take a couple.
Thanks for that, Dipper. And Russell Morris. Now, Miranda, Naish and Whitney, I think, are on the interchange for Richmond.
Correct, Bruce.
As we have a look.
Yes, they have gone back to more conventional setup. Charles at full forward. Gale centre half forward. Been picked up by James Hird.
So Prescott's out there.
And David Bourke in the full forward area too.
Start of the second half, can the Tigers come back? They go to the left of screen. 4-4 to 9-4.
Parshin put it down. It was knocked out by Big Somerville. It went out to Dare, who hand passed to Knights. Knights was grabbed without the football. And Matty Knights, to the cheers of the crowd, has got the hand pass going across to the Duck. Daffy inside, 50 to the running player over there in Bourke. No one inside now for Richmond as Fletcher is there. And it's just dribbled over the boundary line and out of play. Charles is there. And he runs back to the goal square. Who's doing the ruck? Benny Gale is there. He's pointing. He's got to go up and ruck against Hird. Benny Gale can't get the knockdown, but it went through towards the Duck, who lost the travel of the football. O'Donnell's hand pass was a hospital job, but it was picked up over there by Doolan. Doolan of Essendon got it to O'Donnell. He's underground, burrowing worm burner went bang on the football. Went over the boundary line.
And it went out of bounds and barrel. I see some crutches down there. Compliments of Harry's.
Thousands of them, Shane.
What about just the 2 that we're really looking at?
Oh, you mean Barry Young's? Yes, he is hobbling along on crutches there. So the interchange players are Lloyd, O'Connor and Barry Young crutches.
Here comes Maxfield charging the goal for Richmond. It lands between goal and behind post. Justin Charles snaps. Oh, he nearly could have kicked a lifter there to start the second half, Barassi, but just was offline.
Well, he's one of those players that we do have to have lift, and he is capable of doing that. That would have been a really terrific thing for us, but it wasn't to be. We just have to keep at it.
Did you see Barry Young on crutches down there, Sam?
I haven't seen him today on crutches, but I believe he's avid in that particular regard.
Thank you, Sam. Calthorpe works the ball to defensive 50, Mercuri. Played a pretty good game, works it out wide. Bomber Thompson and Knights, the 2 opposing captains. Knights was ferocious. Won the battle, gave it to Campbell, who gave it to Rogers. Oh, the kick was ordinary, hoping for young David Bourke. But Michael Simons chipped in, and that defensive 50 took the mark and played on and kicked long on the right foot.
To Smokin' Joe Mercedes. And the big Smokin' Joe took a beautiful mark and hand passed it off towards Doolan. Here comes Salmon. He made beautiful space between him and Turner. It was enough for Doolan to just go bang. And 3 metres in the air. The football dragged into the solar plexus of the fish.
Now, they've got to give this game about 10 minutes, Richmond, or else they're just going to fill in time and drop out of the finals. They've got to give it 10 minutes, and if nothing happens through let me just get the word right, through conventional play, they've got to try something unorthodox, and that's get in and go the knuckle run.
Not at all. That doesn't win these days. It hasn't done for about 30 years, Sam.
Salmon from 48 metres. It is behind the stick. Behind the stick. And Essendon to 9-5-69. I'll say that again. 9-5-69 and Richmond a 4-5-29. That's 3 minutes in, third term Home Hardware Dulux scoreboard.
What we've got to do is have our players in a much more attacking frame of mind. For instance, Turner be in front of Salmon and not trailing behind. That would be one example of what I'm getting at.
Chrissy Bond marks the kick out, just where the cricketers walk out to play their cricket for the Vixen for the Australian side. And he drives along this member's wing. In goes John Howard now on the ground. He tries to parry it across to Daffy, who races away from Alessio and Olorenshaw and kicks to half forward. Oh, good mark. That's a fine mark to Mark Harvey, or James Hurd it was. Out bustle. Benny Gale is having a shocker. Hurd gives it to Mercuri, who runs along Member's wing. Drives hoping for Harvey, who's in the forward line. Kellaway beat him to the footy. Under pressure from Harvey, worked the hand pass to a quiet Broderick, who gave it to Howard, who got around Alessio and gave it to Bauer. They reached the back of the square, Richmond, and Bauer drives along the wing, but Hurd just read it beautifully and came across and took a very good mark. And look, Essendon does look pretty good here, Dermy.
Yeah, they're going well. That was a bad kick to Gale. You can't blame him for that.
Hurd's kick. Almost to centre half forward. Alessio got hands on the footy, couldn't take the mark. Calthorpe was on his way, lost it to Bond, who off defensive 50 kicked ordinarily. There's a free kick to Richmond. It's going to go to Bauer for over the shoulder against Mercuri. They've staged their own personal war, those two today. They'll be 50 metres against Calthorpe if he doesn't get out of the way very quickly.
It was an over-the-shoulder boulder holder onto the Bird. The Bird kicked it out to Callaway on the left half-back flank in the sunshine. Here comes Benny Gale. He got a hand to it, punched away by Hurd. Olorenshaw, hands and knees, picked himself up, hand pass, Doolan now inside 50, looking for the fish! Punched away down there by Prescott. Jamie Tape's hand pass intercepted by Harvey, who's held. Here comes Prescott, his little worm burner went to Campbell. They're under extreme pressure. Howard playing the ball in front of himself, and the football tumbles over the boundary line and out of play.
It is quite amazing, Graham Bond, that Benny Gale, I think, so far, 10 minutes into the third quarter, actually hasn't had a stat, has he?
No kicks, no hand passes, no marks.
That is unbelievable.
Spinning back into play in front of the Silver Tails. Kicked out, and it was marked beautifully by the measure. That's Jamie Tape off the half-back line. Low trajectory kick meant for Nation. Found that player from the sunshine into the shade on the wing down towards Rogers. Out comes the big fellow in Charles. Charles is upended. A over T went. The hand pass came out.
Hello, there he goes.
Broderick. Broderick got it now. He got it out of Benny Gale, but his hand pass was intercepted. Here comes Red Simons. Red Simons gets a kick out to Olorenshaw, and he marks it on the half-back flank and hand passes back to Red Simons, who kicks a long, long ball.
He was hoping for Harvey. Oh, but a good mark to the Tigers to Howard. He's 60 metres from the Essendon goal. Members half-back flank. Drives up to Benny Gale. Can he be two stats in a minute? No. Courageous Mark Mercuri, who's having his second wonderful final in 2 weeks. Playing in the short sleeves today. The right foot pass looking for Salmon. Alessio. 1-2 bites. Couldn't mark. Bauer goes in. Well tackled by Alessio. John Essendon's 50. Denham picks it up. On hands and knees, fishes out the handball to Harvey, who kicks it deep into the forward line. Tape's underneath it. He goes up and takes a good mark. What a Tape stats, Bondi, for Tats Pokies.
He's coming in for his 8th kick, 5 marks to Jamie Tape.
Goes wide to Broderick, running under the southern stand. He peels back onto his left foot, then decides to kick it right. Wide out there. And we pay that mark to Wayne Campbell in front of Mercuri. Campbell versus Mercuri stats-wise, Bondi.
Campbell 8 kicks. Mark Mercuri's had 10 kicks and kicked a goal.
Well, he looked, did Campbell for Benny Gale, but Hurd was able to thump the ball away and over for a throw-in. Would you in any way think about taking Benny Gale off, Barassi?
Yes, I would, because again he got the ball. I don't think it was the punch in the spoil from Hill.
Just dropped it.
The Essendon player that knocked it, he just dropped the ball, so I'd take him off. Hurd, he was the one in question. I'd take him off. It's just not his day at this moment. He might come back later and do all right.
Olorenshaw kicked it out to James Hurd. There's the Ansett sign on the wing. He kicks it in towards further afield. Alessio through his hands. Here comes Dunnybrush Denham. The ball went down to Harvey. Harvey hand pass Calthorpe. Calthorpe, Olorenshaw, Salmon. Just a beautiful momentum by Essendon. Calthorpe got it across, and Harvey got it further afield, and then Salmon came out and said, "Thank your mother for the fish." And Salmon will line it up for his 3rd goal from 40 metres out directly in front.
Well, it's really disappointing for the crowd and for Richmond to see their season perhaps just slip away like this, because they have nothing across the half-forward line. In any key positions do they look as though they might be able to prevail.
They're in real danger here of really dropping away.
So Salmon goes behind the stick. Essendon 9-6-60. They're 31 points up on Richmond, 4-5-29, 8.5 minutes. in third term. Home Hardware scoreboard for Harry's Liquor Markets, down to the Marx brothers.
Thanks, Rex. Well, Knights is in trouble for Richmond. He's got trouble with his hand. They've been trying to get to him for about 5 minutes now. But on the bench for Richmond is Wigney, Miranda and Michael Gale.
Bond won it at the kick-out, drove down to half-forward, Hurd, unstoppable this quarter, took a wonderful mark on defensive 50, classy disposal to Simons, who marks. And what's the umpire doing here? He'll have to make him kick over the mark. I don't think he had played on in Simons' defence there. The Tigers supporters wanted to hold him the ball, but I don't think he'd moved off the mark. Simons goes to Mercuri at the back of the square. She's building up the stats, Graham. We checked it a moment ago. Let's do it again.
Yeah, 12 kicks, 3 hand passes, 4 marks, Mark Mercuri.
Goes wide to Big Somerville, who marks on the outer wing. The pressure from Richmond not great at the moment. Somerville now down to a lurking Salmon. He's up, couldn't mark. Oh, well done, Tigers again. Out of defence comes Howard on the left foot. Shocking kick. And Mercuri marks right in the centre of the MCG. And he'll hand pass quickly, and the Bombers are away again.
He got it to Grenbold, got it to Doolan. Doolan on the edge of the square went long. Here comes O'Donnell. But here comes also little Chrissy Naish, who marked it on the back line. They've got to get this prodigious goal scorer to score goals. His kick came down towards the Duck. The Duck on the left half-back flank for Richmond. Trying to lift his side in the shadows of the Smokers' sand. Here comes a lead from the Prince. Charles can't get it, but Fletcher dead. Fletcher's under all sorts of trouble. He hand-passed it and went over the boundary line. Graham Bond on 3RW.
Well, Wayne Campbell's picked up his rating a bit this quarter, Rex. He's picked up 2 kicks, but Broderick also with 5 hand passes and 2 kicks. He's doing a bit better around the packs, but as mentioned, nothing across half forward for the Tigers.
Doolan shadowing Knights and doing it well, knocked out by the Prince. Charles got it to Bond. 007 inside 50 with a finger-breaking spiral punt. Down to Rogers. Rogers has kicked a point and broke. It was an offie that was a leggy, so if a leggy that goes an offie's a wrong-un, that was a prong-un, and it went through the wrong side of the stick. They couldn't buy a goal, Richmond. They're 4-6-30, and Essendon 9-6-60. Home Hardware Dulux scoreboard.
Unbelievable luck there for the Tigers. Gary Brice, down to you as Kevin Sheedy makes a move. Barrel for Harry's Liquor Markets.
Well, big Alessio's come off and doesn't seem to be injured, and they brought young Lloyd on to play at centre-half forward.
Grenbold marked the kick out, hand pass to Bomber Thompson, who went wide. Simons and Bourke battling out there. Both went to the ground. Bourke's got it. Tries to hand pass through Simons' legs. Well done, Broderick, to come across and assist. He loses it to Simons' ferocity. He does a somersault and then concedes it, I think, over the boundary line under the southern stand. Now it's still just inside the line. Now Denham takes it. Hand passes backwards to Wanganeen. Well done, Essendon, to clear there down the wing, and Somerville takes the mark. Knights this quarter, Bondi, has he had a touch for Tats Pokies?
Yes, 1 kick, 1 hand pass.
Somerville's high kick lands with Naish at the back of the square. So it's a pretty dour third quarter at the moment. 11 minutes gone, no goals kicked. Essendon by 5 goals, 9-6 to 4-6. Tate marks under the southern stand for Richmond. On the wing, drives down into the forward line. They've got Turner down there now. Pack develops, and I think Saws will go for a ball up. Well, Dermy, you happy with the way the Bombers are going here? Anything you'd do?
Sure am, but look, it's just obvious now. Sheedy knows that he's going to win this game as long as he keeps the pressure up. He's just experimenting now. He's got Lloyd at centre-half forward.
So Hurd goes up and takes it, but he's been given a free kick against. It's going to go to the Prince. And Prince Charles of Richmond has got it, plays on it 52 metres, kicks it into the square for Rogers to go up, but so too Red. Simons tapped it away. Here comes Bourke. But the football goes over the boundary line and out of play. Adjacent to the Crown Casino sign, with a couple of policemen watching this football now being circumvoluted on its journey back into the stadium, and it's a beautiful circumvolution as well. The football now knocked out by Charles. Daffy ducks held. And a free kick to the duck. Daffy at point-blank range should see Richmond's 5th goal go on the Home Hardware Dulux scoreboard.
Well, we won't argue with that. He was definitely held there, Daffy, as he is about to line up for Richmond's 5th. But this game's gone from them, in my opinion, well and truly.
So the Duck has kicked a goal. It's Richmond's 5th. They're 5-6-36. They're still well behind Essendon. 9-6-60. There's only 4 goals in it, but you just get the impression that 4 goals might be a buffer for all day.
Yes, I agree with you there, Rex. However, it's only 4 kicks, and should we get a bit of a run on, would give us enormous lift in confidence, and anything could happen, because we have hardly got one player playing well, although Broderick's come back into the game a little bit. Campbell has lifted. Naish, although he's not doing his work in the forward pocket at the moment, he's got a couple of kicks, 3 I think, this quarter, which is a lot better than the first half, and we have outscored Essendon in this quarter. It doesn't mean much, but still we're hanging in there.
1 goal, 2 to 2 points your way, Barassi. Knights, beautiful roving. He races out of the centre. He's at the front of the square. He's done it again. No, Simons has marked on the goal line. Well, after a shocking first half, Simons has really lifted this quarter. He finds Fletcher with a handball, and he's wobbled that one out of bounds on the fall. Are these the moments, the starting moments of a Tiger ferocious fight back? Can Richmond turn it around here? Their enormous throng of supporters around Australia through 8HA in Alice Springs, Top FM in Darwin, 6PR in Perth, hoping they can. Rogers 50 from goal on the boundary line. High one to the square. Or nearly a mark at the back by Turner, who jumped high. And in the end, it wobbled over the back and went out of bounds, Sammy.
Well, Ron makes a good point. I mean, 4 goals is not insurmountable. And if Knights had pinged that, I mean, they just might find something.
Well, they just don't seem to have the players available. There's the goal to Richmond.
Scotty Turner.
By Turner. He grabbed it Gary Ablett style and kicked it. And now it's back within 3 goals. Now you'll see something from the centre with Essendon 9-6-60 to Richmond 6-6-42.
Well, the key positions for Essendon now. Big Salmon went out to centre half forward then, taken by Gale. Back and full forward is Lloyd, who was taken by Howard, but now they've switched Howard away, and the job on young Lloyd. Lloyd has been taken by Bourke.
Oh, isn't it warming up here now? Brian Sheehan preparing to bounce. 15 minutes, third quarter. Essendon 9-6-60. Richmond 6-6-42. Somerville thumped it, but Knights takes it. Hand passes now to Daffy. He gets away from Grenvold and kicks hurriedly up toward the front of the square. Gavin Wangadine beats Maxfield to the footy. Nice play, Brownlow medalist. Burst through. Rogers got him. There's a turnover. It goes to Campbell. Richmond's lifting. Long kick, Hurd. Holds them up. What are his stats, Bondi, for Tats Pokies?
Well, 9 marks, 4 marks this quarter. He's had 11 kicks and 2 hand passes.
Gee, what a star.
With Michael Long, the class performer of the Bombers. No Long today, of course. As Salmon marks forward of centre. It was a good, strong mark in front of that poor old Benny Gale. Salmon puts it out in front of the leading Lloyd. Up they go on attacking 50. Mercuri waits down. Chance for Essendon here. Now it might be a ball up. They just couldn't get it away there.
Ron would have hated that kick because Salmon took 1 step and kicked it, where if he took 3 or 4 steps and went through, it goes 15 metres further.
He's not kicking too well, luckily for us, Salmon, today.
And Benny Gale, not only physically not on the job, mentally should have punched that ball away from Salmon. He got at least punch.
The ball's inside 50 for Richmond. Here's a go. A hand pass by Tate was intercepted by several players. There's green boots everywhere there, and there is Prescott with green boots. And the umpire is Greg Scroop, and he's got it inside 50 at centre half forward for Essendon at the main scoreboard end. The bounce is down, knocked out by Deere, went out to the bird. Bauer's hand pass was intercepted over there by Smoke and Joe Mercuri, and the football was taken out of his hand by Campbell. And it's out of play 57 metres around from the Essendon goal. It's Essendon by 3 goals, by 18 points, deep into the third term. Knocked out by Deere. Here comes Knights, who's been sensational. Smoke and Joe Mercuri got a hand pass to Mercuri. Mercuri's hand pass went out towards Doolan. Maxfield has taken, so too has Bauer. But the umpire crossed himself in Monsignor fashion and said, "Give it to me, my son, and I will bounce it on the left half forward flank for Essendon, right half back flank for Richmond."
I think I was right in saying it was Grenvold tackling Maxfield there too. I mean, their own little personal war out there that goes back a few weeks. There's the bounce. On 50, Bauer playing a fair game, clears it away to a Bond Mercuri battle. Mercuri won it, used his body beautifully, took a wonderful mark. He's forward of centre. What a Bond stat, Graham?
He's 9 kicks and 4 marks.
Mercuri long, hoping for Somerville. Got it at the back. Oh, Naish got him in a wonderful tackle. And a ball up. Wasn't that a courageous effort by Chrissy Naish there, Sam?
Oh, it was, Shane. Poor old Benny Gale. I mean, that just ball went straight through his hands then.
You watch him here, Sam. He stands flat-footed at the back of the pack. His mind really isn't on it.
So a horrible day for Benny Gale. Maybe it might come good. Somerville tapped down, but Naish roved it. You just feel Richmond's starting to win a bit more of the footy as Naish rolls one away from centre half back toward the southern stand, and it's over for a throw in 60 metres from the Essendon goal.
What Benny Gale is doing is living each horror 2 and 3 times over on his mind.
But the football now thrown back in. It's right on the 50-metre mark and over the top of the football. Many players, a hand pass by Bow, found Campbell. Campbell went by the cape and then hand passed it beautifully to the duck. Daffy off the right half-back flank, kicks it down towards the wing, towards Bourke. Punched away by Wanganeen. Broderick's hand pass too big for Maxfield. A turnover, Smoking Joe Mercedes' hand pass intercepted by Turner. Turner's hand pass intercepted by Alessio. He went through like a battering ram and lost the football to Knights. Knights now got a hand pass out to Campbell. Campbell swung around on a sixpence and went bang. It's a worm burner, but here comes Harvey. Red Simon's there as well. Tapped onto Naish. Naish, 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 no! A goal to Richmond's Naish. Here come Richmond. Here they come. They're now within 12 points. The Tigers from Front Road. They're 7 goals, 648. But Essendon are 9 goals, 660.
I can't see who the Essendon player is on the ground on the outer side, on the outer wing, but the trainers have held up the sign that they want him removed off the ground. Hasn't moved. I saw him go down, clutching the shoulder. He was bumped off the ball. It was a sign for the stretcher to come out, so they're going to stretcher him off. But he went down.
Gary O'Donnell.
Gary O'Donnell. He got bumped off the ball. He was chasing somebody, and somebody came in and shepherded him off the ball. And I think he could have done a collarbone by the look of the way he went down.
He was pretty sick and sorry, Dermy, when he went down. I saw it myself.
There he is. He's holding his right arm, so whether it's his shoulder or his collarbone, he's in a bit of trouble in the upper body area.
Well, let's see what Gary Brice can add to that. Compliments of Harry's. Gary's down on the boundary. Well, why couldn't they?
Well, he does look fairly sore in the shoulder area. I wouldn't be surprised if it is a collarbone, but prior to that going on, Pryor came off, Alessio is on, and now they've got Pryor ready to come back on because, as you know, they are fairly short on the bench, Essendon, with those injuries earlier on to Barry Young and Ryan O'Connor.
I would think it is an absolute telling time for Essendon to have the game stopped.
Yeah, well, 2 goals up. Sorry, Sammy, what were you saying there?
Oh, probably is some law. I was just wondering, there's a metre off the boundary line. Why couldn't they have taken him off and walked him round? But perhaps you've got to come through the line.
If he doesn't go through the interchange gate, he's not allowed back on the ground this quarter.
This would be exactly what Sheedy wants, though. He would have actually been screaming from the box, get the stretcher out, take him off on the stretcher, give the boys a chance to rest, regroup, talk about why Richmond have kicked the last 2 or 3 goals on end. We can regroup. I can settle my players down and push my players into the positions I want to stop this rot that has just started to set in.
Well, the MCG is absolutely alive here. Down behind the Punt Road goals, and here on the members' side, the Richmond crowd are all lifting as one, trying to lift this young Richmond side that have got back into the game. O'Donnell is getting up off the stretcher now. And I'll tell you what, Sam, Dermy is absolutely right in what he said about the stretcher.
You don't need a stretcher for a shoulder.
And that was a good tactic from Essendon to slow it down. Pryor comes on. Barrel, what did you see?
Yes, well, Sheeds is unbelievable, isn't he? Every trick in the book, he'll pull it. And obviously, Gary could have walked off. He's a little groggy, but certainly didn't need the stretcher. But it's good. Well, they needed to pull Richmond up. They've done it.
And Richmond gets first kick off the ground out of the centre. Taken by Turner. He gave it to Daffy. Daffy sees an open goal. Oh, my goodness me. This game's come to life. Daffy's got 2. And Sam, they're getting it out of the centre over and over again.
Well, 4 goals in this quarter to Richmond, and Essendon haven't scored a goal, just in fact just 2 behinds. And Ron, if ever you want an example of someone who can actually inspire something out of the centre, a winning ruck, Greg Deer's been fantastic out of that position, nothing else, just that position.
Right.
Ball back in the centre, we have a ball game now. We're 23 minutes in the 3rd term. Essendon are 60 points. Richmond are 54 points. There's a goal in it at the MCG, knocked out by Maxfield. Broderick's hand pass went back to Maxfield. Maxfield's kicked it to the edge of the square. Here's a go for Richmond. It's in the goal square where Bourke picks it up, but it's taken by Simons. He hand passes it off to Hurd. Hurd kicks it outside 50 and finds Holleran Shaw on the right half-back flank in front of the members' stand. Comes the football onto the wing, down towards Salmon, punched away by Benny Gale. It came out to James Hurd and it's on the interchange wing. And he's absolutely what he's given him for deliberate. And Matthew Knights can now see a player on his own. It's Turner. He's kicked it a long ball. Bomber Thompson got to come back. Turner's up, so too Hurd. Picked up by Prince Charles. Charles of Richmond has got to kick the back. And the son of Francis can line it up 30 metres out on the 45-degree angle to tie this up really tight at 60 points each of 2. The pressure on this young man must be immense. The son of an absolute Tiger legend comes in from 34 metres and kicks it. Coming back, it's a point. It's a point. 8-7-55 Richmond. I'll say that again, 8-7-55 Richmond to Essendon, 9-6-60 Home Hardware Dulux scoreboard.
Oh dear me, this is really building now. It's just an absolute cauldron here at the MCG. There's a free kick to Hurd at the kick out. Daffy gave him a bit of a shove. Has Daffy been a contributor on the stat sheet this quarter, Greime?
Yeah, he's been great. 7 kicks for the quarter plus 2 goals.
Oh yeah, sure has, as Doolan marks half-back flank. Why is Richmond turning around, Sammy?
I think out of the centre they've inspired some momentum out of that centre bounce area. They've reorganised some of their troops and they've had a little bit of desire, which we mentioned earlier.
Well, the ball's wobbled over here on the wing. How are you seeing it from ground level, Al? The intensity, which wasn't there early in the third quarter, just seems to have come right back.
Well, Richmond are right up on their toes now. They started to look a little bit tired, but geez, they have really picked up the game and really putting in.
This is a wonderful semi-final, the end of the season. For one of these sides, the winner goes to Waverley to face the Cats. It's on the wing and Daffy, another stat. Hand passes to Maxfield. Left-footed down beyond 50. It bounces past Fletcher. It's gone to Rogers. Hand passes in front of himself. No, he didn't keep it in. Boundary umpire beat him. Wanganeen was there to try and stop him. They didn't like the decision. Dermy, what would you do here?
Well, Sean Denham's come out of the centre because Doolan's gone on to Knights, but I would throw Shawnee Denham back in onto Knights to try and get more of the ball out of the centre going our way.
Deep into attack for Richmond in the shadows at three-quarter time. Grabbed by Turner again. Rogers has marked it. No, he hasn't. It went through his fingers and it's picked up by Rogers and it's picked up down there by Campbell. Campbell hand passes out towards Broderick, but here comes Bomber Thompson. They're down like 9 pins as Bomber Thompson kicks it outside 50. He'll be looking for Alessio. The bounce is cruel to both players. Here comes the duck. Daffy takes it. Hand passes. Intercepted by Harvey. Harvey of Essendon kicks it onto the centre wing where young Lloyd is there. Beautiful interception by Prescott. Prescott now runs around and kicks it to a lead down there from Bond. Can't bond it together and the football went over the boundary line. The club doctor is out to Grenbold. He looks like he's been hit with a Mack truck. He looks like a bulldog chewing a wasp at the moment. He's limping, he's grimping, he's swimming as the ball comes spinning back into play. Half forward for Richmond. Here comes Fletcher. Hand passed it out towards Wanganeen. Wanganeen kicked it into the centre of the ground for Red Simons to mark it. There's not a lot of time to go before three-quarter time. Simons has got a lead from Salmon, but it's no good. It's intercepted down there by Jamie Tape and took a great mark.
He's playing a wonderful game, Jamie Tape. His stats, Bondi, for Tats Bogey.
Well, that was his 10th kick. He's taken 7 marks as he picks out Maxfield in the centre of the ground.
And he's had a pretty fair third quarter since coming on and now kicks long on that sweeping left foot. David Burke's going to jump, just couldn't take the mark. Essendon desperate in defence now. Richmond with their tails up. 5 points Essendon's way. Daffy's got it. He's on 50, has the kick smothered by Harvey. Out comes Calthorpe. Kicks off the ground. It'll bounce for Harvey, who picks up coolly and chips off the ground to Mercuri or across the ground. And Joe Mercuri marks at the back of the square. He's got a player on his own in the centre. There's not much movement on Essendon's half-forward line. Now Lloyd runs across attacking 50. That's where Mercuri goes. He'll look for young Matthew Lloyd, who jumps early, couldn't take the mark. Calthorpe and Knights are chasing. It's inside 50. Calthorpe playing for a free kick. It won't come. Good umpiring. Falls for Lloyd. Hand passes to Mercuri. He hand passes to Alessio. Under big pressure. He's gone! The hand pass gave Alessio no chance. Dia got him. A it's a free kick for the Tigers at fullback, Dermy.
Great tackle. It would have been so easy for Deer then, with the momentum, to just fall into Alessio's back, but just the experience, he just harassed him until he held on to it too long.
You can't beat experience as Deer comes out looking for Campbell, who marks it beautifully. He did it beautifully then. He took a mark in front of the Conviction, and Pryor was not in the race there with experience's handers. No, he nearly went to the hand past Campbell. We're deep in the shadows of three-quarter time. There's 5 points of difference here at the MCG. He's waiting for some move, Campbell. He goes forward now. The umpire says you better hurry up or I'll take it off you. Campbell now kicks a 50-metre kick along the wing position on the member's side. Harvey's there. The Duck picks up the crumbs. He hand passes and he's been interfered with. The Daffy Ducker for Richmond on the left half-forward flank of the punt road in. Can they get ahead by a point at three-quarter time? The Duck sets sail for home. He's got a big one down there looking for Bourke. Nearly a mark down there to Naish. Naish picked it up and Naish comes in and kicks a goal. Richmond are in front. Naish's second goal in one of the great comebacks you will ever see. They were down and out. They were on the bottom of the sea with the scallops and the shark crab, and they've dragged themselves up out of the gutter. They've stood up and they have come home beautifully towards three-quarter time to hit the front by 1 point.
5 goals to 2 points they've kicked. It's been an amazing turnaround. I said earlier in this quarter that the game was almost over unless something miraculous happened. As we spoke, I think it was Turner who took it out of the ball and kicked the goal Ablett style, and they've never looked back.
Seven got it down to Dool, and it's in the centre. A point the difference in this wonderful semi-final. And there's a free kick to Doolan for a shove in the back. He's got it right in the centre of the MCG. Siren may beat both sides for any more scoring. 30 minutes, third quarter. Somerville got it. 1-2 bites, and it's no mark. He's not paying it. Well, he jumped over the back. He appeared to be the only player. That was a mark. The siren's gone for three-quarter time. It is not a mark. And at three-quarter time, well, if Essendon was robbed there, we would have to say earlier in the day, Richmond had a couple of really tough ones against them. And at lemon time, Richmond in front by a point. Al Martello.
He had 3, he had 4. Gee, that
I would have played that mark.
Absolutely.
What's wrong with that?
He had it all, didn't he? As the two camps go, Ross, can you remember a more dramatic turn of football this season?
Not really, Bruce, and just great admiration for Richmond. I said at the beginning of that quarter, about 10 minutes in, I should say, that I thought Essendon was still controlling it. By gee, the surge by Richmond was just outstanding. That's what their persistence has been like all year. And Naish and Daffy, fantastic.
And just the Salmon misses. I know it's easy, but he had a couple of shots, didn't he, Salmon, from about 40 when they were cruising away.
And a couple of hips and shoulders, O'Donnell and then Grenvold, copying them from Scott Turner. As Robbo said,
he did well, didn't he, Ross?
Well, he went to centre-half forward, kicked that goal out of the boundary throw, which is important, gave them the spark. Laid off a couple of hips and shoulders and can make a difference.
Well, it's a tight game, and those just a couple of little things like that can make a bit of difference. I mean, the quality player that O'Donnell is of no good to Essendon sitting on the bench.
Well, what doesn't Campbell feel better with Pryor running alongside?
Well, that's exactly it, Bruce. That's the point.
Okay, it's three-quarter time, and the scores here are Richmond 9-7, Essendon 9-6. There's a goalless turn for Essendon. It's 9-7, 9-6. Now this is happening before the ball is bounced. Live action from the Melbourne Cricket Ground to start the final term. They sort themselves out now. Mercuri with Bauer, Prescott, Simons, Tipper, Russell.
It's tense down here, Bruce. I can certainly tell you. Unfortunately for Essendon, they haven't got much to choose off the bench. Gary O'Donnell is not well. Grenvold is on the ground with slight concussion as well. And
also it's a credit to obviously Chris Naish and Nick Daffy. Fantastic quarters to lift the Tigers. Sensational last quarter, Bruce.
No doubt about that. Thanks, Russell Morris and Robert DiPierdomenico.
It's a big call for young Matthew Lloyd at centre-half back on Turner now because Hurd's gone back to the forward line.
We start the final term of the semi-final between Richmond and Essendon. The first time...
Umpire Scroop blows the whistle and puts the football down. Richmond went by the Cape. Going through is the conviction. Pryor couldn't get it, but Daffy did to the left half-forward flank. Here comes Turner. Turner's hand pass back to the Duck. The Duck on centre wing, left his player and his mire, and he went to the left half-forward. And coming out is Fletcher. And Fletcher takes a diving mark for Essendon in the right half-back flank. Out of sight of the football ground is a lead down there from young Lloyd. Lloyd now is in front of Naish. Naish from behind, hand passes in front. But the football came out again. Smoke and Joe Mercuri was there, but Lloyd hand passed towards Doolan. Doolan hand passed across towards Oliver and Shaw. On the left boot to the wing position, looking for Harvey. Beautiful, spoiled by the measure. Tape's punch saw the football just career into the fence as it went over the boundary line.
And out of play. How's Sheedy started the last quarter, Dermy?
Well, he's realised he's got to win the game now, and he's got James Hird back at centre half forward to damage the opposition.
And I think I saw Wanganeen in the starting four in the square as well, as Lloyd falls over the top of the footy out there under the southern stand. Under a lot of pressure, the young kid Naish traps it, smothers it and then grabs it, runs along the boundary line, within 60 of goal. He's within 45 of goal. What an effort from Naish, but he just misses. Richmond 9-8-62. Essendon 9-6-60, 1 minute last quarter. What's the Bomber bench doing down there? Gary Brice for Harry's Liquor Markets. Who's on the bench? Who's on the ground?
Well, the Bomber bench very sick, Shane. Gary O'Donnell with concussion, and if George doesn't keep quiet, I'm going to knock him out. George Biaggione, I wish he'd be quiet. Barry Young with an ankle and Ryan O'Connor with a hamstring. Neither of those three will come on because David Grenbold also has concussion, but they can't afford to have one less on the ground.
Okay, so Grenbold is on the ground. Pryor wins it at the back of the square. Big long kick into an open forward line. Beyond attacking 50, out came Benny Gale. Over round Hird gave it to Salmon. He's dragged down. 35 from goal. It's going to be Simons to give it to Calthorpe. No, he has a shot himself, and he's kicked it out of bounds on the full. Calthorpe's annoyed because he was on his own and probably should have accepted a handball, Sammy.
And the interception of James Hird there amongst three defenders, Richmond streaming out of the back line, was unreal.
Comes outside 50 for Richmond, picked up by Broderick. Now it goes to half forward. Here comes Chrissy Bond coming out there. Bomber Thompson intercepted it very close to the boundary line. As I speak, it went over. It was tapped over and over by young Lloyd. It's on the right half-back flank for Essendon, defending at the main scoreboard end. Richmond into attack on the left half-forward flank. It's right in front of the Nissan sign as the football now comes spinning back into play. Right over the top is Somerville. Broderick got it, picked it up again. His hand pass went out to Rogers. Rogers picked it up and dropped it. But here comes Maxfield. He picked it up. He was besieged. The umpire crossed himself in Monsignor fashion, Greg Scroop, and he will put it down, kid. Left half forward, Richmond into attack.
Well, we would be very proud of our players at this time. There was not one single instance in this last quarter, so we've got about 50 already where they've gone in full bore and just absolutely fanatical.
Well, Bomber Thompson was fanatical there and took it away from the traffic. Kicked it only as far as Knights. He bounced it and tackled. Yes, it's holding the ball, good umpiring. He was just tackled as he bounced it. Free kick to Calthorpe, who gives it to Harvey. He sizes the best option and picks it out to Pryor. Pryor's right on the centre line is the supporters. You're down by 2 points, 9-6 to 9-8 in this great cutthroat semi. Pryor kicks long. Salmon, good lead. Good mark. That's good hands from the big fish. Out in front of Gale. Now Alessio wants it long and quickly into the square. He looks dangerous, Big Stephen, but Callaway floated across the front of the pack and relief for the Richmond Tigers to Campbell.
And Prescott kicked it out to Campbell, who got it on the half-back line. Bounced twice, 3 times. Will he know? He'll run towards the wing and go along, looking for Charles. Charles can't get it. The football in the arms of Charles went over the boundary line to Al Martello on the boundary line.
Well, the Richmond have shown plenty of enthusiasm. The interchange of Whitney, Michael Gale and Miranda for Richmond.
The ball spinning back into play on centre wing, knocked out by the Prince, Charles. But it went to Fletcher. His hand pass inboard to Bond. Crunch, it was a battering man. Fletcher's down, Bond's down. 20 dead on our side. On their side, 21. It's like a war here. It's like a war. It's like one of those tag team matches between Cyril Britt and Con Britt. And there's 20 players down.
That was fantastic.
This is magnificent stuff. Gary Brice.
I could feel the quake from here. Both boys very sick, Bond and Fletcher. They're up and they're going to participate in the game, but both very sick at the moment.
Gee, they hit hard. They really did. Pryor gets a high tackle. He gets a free kick against Maxfield right here on Member's wing. Throws the arm back and says to Maxfield, let go of me. He won't go short, he'll go long with another prodigious kick, hoping for James Hurd, who comes out, couldn't mark. Calthorpe plays for a free kick. It wobbles out toward possibly Doolan. It's at half forward for Essendon, not quite, between wing and a half forward. Sam, how are you reading it? Is it too hard?
Well, this is as tough a game as you'll ever see this. And I take Ron's point, don't worry about the fisticuffs and the belt finder play that used to go on. You won't see tougher than this. And the person who'll win this game for either side, certainly for Essendon, will be James Hurd.
So Hurd is up on half forward. Go, Dermy.
That is if they win the game, I mean.
This is an extraordinary situation. This could be the first final I ever see where a team wins without one solitary winner on their forward line, and that could be Richmond.
Just slightly into attack is Essendon, knocked out by Hurd. Here comes Prescott, hand passing to Knights. Knights off the half-back line into the centre of the ground. Here comes Rogers, he's up. So too there is Bubba Thompson, taken away there by Mercuri. Mercuri got it out to Calthorpe. Calthorpe kicked it inboard. Here comes Benny Gale. It hit him on the chest, but it went out towards Callaway. Callaway got it out. Here comes Richmond. Maxfield's got it on the wing. He kicks it inboard, looking for young David Bourke and Turner from behind. The ball's punched clear. Here comes Fletcher. Fletcher picks it up. He hand passes to Harvey. Harvey's taken well. Punched away and it went down to Broderick. Broderick's hand pass further afield. Got it to Rogers. And Rogers kicks the point. Oh, gee whiz. Essendon at 9.660 and Richmond at 9.963. This is just magnificent.
Essendon has kicked 2 points since half-time. The last time these two sides played, it was a draw. If it's a draw today, extra time. They've got to have a winner. Harvey marks the kick out. Bad marking Richmond because the Essendon captain's on his own. He can run down southern stand wing. He looks for Alessio, who got a shove. It wasn't much of a shove, but it was there. And he'll get a free. Howard was the offender. Stephen Alessio. He's on the southern stand wing. He chips inboard to Doolan. They're still on the centre line, Essendon. Now Doolan can go over the top of Knights. No, he's going to go longer. They've got Alessio and Hurd lurking down there. The kick was ordinary. That Naish who chipped in to take the mark. How are his stats, Bondi, since half-time?
Well, in the first half he had 2 touches. He had 7 kicks and 4 marks in the second quarter. Sorry, the third quarter.
Good umpiring.
Tell us what happened there, Sammy.
No, Ron said that.
Go, Ronnie.
Yes, well, it was just an accident there where the ball carrier behind the mark, ready to take the kick, was tripped over an Essendon player, but it was an accident at no 50 metres.
So a good decision. Richmond looked for Turner. Harvey into his back. So a free kick to Scotty Turner, who's been terrific since being moved up the ground. He's on the centre line. Somerville will probably come in and mark. He does at centre half back. The scoreboard, the Synovus Vitamin scoreboard, 8 minutes last quarter of this cutthroat semi. 9-6 Essendon, 9-9 Richmond.
Sam Newman, the ball will have to come back.
Yeah, Somerville elected to play the ball over to Olorenshaw, and of course the umpire said he wasn't lined up millimetre perfect behind his man on the 50-metre arc on Essendon's half-back line, so back it comes.
So Somerville at due centre half back at the main scoreboard end. Transvestites the square, looking down there for Red Simons, who's up. The ball spills clear for Callaway to pick it up. Richmond look very good at this stage because they got runners at the ball. Here comes Bond. He's taken very nicely in towards his chest. He's got the football and comes inboard looking for Prescott. Prescott on the centre wing, sets off for centre half forward. The Ducks there, so too Somerville again. Rides the wave, which was the pack. He took the mark and hand passed it off. Here comes a Pryor conviction. Pryor off the half-back line, transvestites the square towards Alessio. He nearly took it. He's in trouble. He hand passed it. Here comes Calthorpe. Runs to 50. He's caught. He's penalised. Magnificent tackle by Richmond's Bourke. No, it's the worm. The tapeworm. He's got to go back over the mark. Magnificent tackle. It was like a tow truck on a Volkswagen.
Tell you what, it saved a goal too because Calthorpe was on his way at 40. Tigers bring it off defensive 50 and big Greg Deere gives a lead here on the members' wing. On the left foot he chips down looking for young David Bourke, who's out in front of a sick-looking Grenville to take a mark. 2 kicks from goal, the Tigers. They're 3 points in front, 9 minutes last quarter. Still no goals in the final quarter. Down to Campbell. Good spoil Pryor. In comes Maxfield. Campbell picks it up running at pace. But Doolan shoves him over the boundary line for a throw-in. It's 10 minutes last quarter. Throw in right on 50 members side. Main scoreboard or city end. Richmond by 3 points. They've turned around a 5-goal deficit. Charles took it out of the air, and it's a Richmond mark. Rogers has come across the front of Harvey and taken a 2-grab mark, and now should kick Richmond to a 9-point lead. Here's Dermott.
I can just see Sheeds after the game now suggesting that we have 4 on the interchange bench, because it's just so obvious that they are hampered by unfit players, whereas Richmond, even though they haven't got a clear winning forward, they've just finished full of running. They just basically, the people who are kicking their goals are their centre line and their half forwards, who just follow the flow of the ball down as Rogers runs into goal now to kick.
Well, he must kick this. 3 points up, edge of the goal square, right foot. Yes! Well done, Matthew Rogers. And the Tigers by 9. They might cause the upset here. 11 minutes last quarter. It's 10-9-69 to 9-6-60. Essendon, since half-time, have kicked 2 points. Here's Sam Newman before Barassi.
Well, I was just looking at James Hird. They've had the runner out to him. He's absolutely, well, I suppose we could use the vernacular, Shane, and say he's knackered. He's held up both ends of the ground at various stages. And if you're looking for him to win the game, which I suggested, well, maybe he can, but he'll have to find a second win.
They've got to clear it out for him, Sammy. It's too congested. Every time he goes to lead, he's running into the back of his own teammates.
Nearly 12 minutes gone in the last term, and Richmond have a buffer of a goal and a half. Is it enough to bury Essendon? Knocked out by Somerville. Here come Richmond again through the duck. Daffy kicks a long ball down towards Charles. He nearly took a backward follow-up flooper over the back of him. It's picked up by Maxfield, and it's a mark to Richmond on the edge of the goal square. Richmond are going to drive this advantage home. It's Rogers again, and the boys from Punt Road have come back in true gutsy effort performance, and Rogers has taken another mark on the square, and this surely must buckle Essendon at the biceps as Rogers at the main scoreboard end will line it up from point-blank range. He kicked a goal 35 seconds ago. He's lining it up now, and he comes in and goes bang!
Well, these 2 goals have just been absolutely fantastic. I was getting really worried before they were scored because we seem to be doing all the attacking, using up a lot of energy after we'd also done the same thing in the 3rd quarter. And I thought if we didn't score and get some result, it must become eventually in this quarter Essendon's turn. But now those 2 goals, it makes it really a lot easier for us.
Well, it was 4 goals to 9, and now Richmond's kicked the last 7. And Doolan gives it to Hird out of the centre, who gives it to Calthorpe. Nothing coming off for Essendon. Wanganeen hasn't had a touch in the last quarter. Tries to get it across to Calthorpe. Hird's been tackled high.
He's rough roving James Hird now. He realised the ball's not got him down there. He's putting his champion in the centre to win it.
Well, Hird's on the front corner of the square. He could give this a roost and put it in the goal square. That's what he's done. It's just wide of that area. Salmon's up. No, he couldn't take the mark. Who's down? Howard pushes it to the boundary, and it's over. Essendon in front of 88,000 people here. The attendance has just gone up. 30 metres out from the Punt Road goal, throw in southern stand side. Bombers 9-6, Richmond 11-9. Get back the Tigers from here, but in this game, who would know? At the throw in, Hird goes in hard. Richmond's tackling brilliant. Naish got Pryor, and he said the umpire free kick. I didn't think Pryor had much of a chance. How did you see it, Sammy, there?
I didn't think he had any chance at all. He was trying to make the play, but well, they're replaying it on the screen, so let's have a look. He was seen to be pretty well pinned to me.
He's trying to punch it into his own chest, Sam. Surely he's got a
ball's on the wing position, and Mercuri's got it, and he bangs it back to centre half forward. It's congested. Alessio's up. No one down for the Tigers. There's a free kick to Richmond. And John Howard was taken across the shoulder, and he kicks it out there on the left half-back flank to Prescott. Prescott goes inboard to the centre of the ground where the duck takes a mark. Daffy kicks it inside 50, down towards Rogers, who's up. Here comes Turner. He could bury Essendon and has gone behind the stick for a behind to make it 16 points. 15 minutes in the last term. It could be all over for Essendon. Richmond 11-10-76. Lead Essendon 9-6-60 on the St Obers Vitamin scoreboard.
Here's Denham, who wins it from the kick-in and gives it to Calthorpe. He's on defensive 50. Not much run left in Essendon. 3 hamstrung players on the bench, and now they go short to Denham. He's legged. Umpire calls play on. It's on Richmond's 50. Vital turnover. Campbell loses it. In goes Calthorpe. Wonderful play. Hand passes wildly. Went to Bowen out of Campbell. Hand passes to Rogers on 50. He sinks a long one. There's 2 Tigers and 1 Bomber. It hits the ground. Play on it. Must be a Richmond goal. Maxfield. It's wobbling. It's wobbling. And it's come off hands. I think it was Charles who tried to pick it up in the square. They seem to have numbers everywhere there, Sam, but they couldn't kick it through the goal.
They're reading the play much better. Richmond now, they have numbers at the ball, as you have suggested. Essendon, a form of panic in their game at the minute, and Richmond seem to be far more calculating under the pressure.
Thank you very much. As Mercuri has got it, he kicks it outside 50. The wheels have fallen off Essendon. Hurd hand passes to Grenvold. Grenvold transvestite to square, but no one at home. Howard can come out for Richmond in the glorious sunshine. He's gone. No says yes. The umpire said he's gone. So at half forward, Simons has got to kick it forward before they get down there. He kicks it to Alessio, who marks it 42 metres out. Ron, don't poke me like that.
Well, why would that be free kick? Because he did attempt the handball. It's unbelievable free kick decision, that one.
I don't know, Ron. I can't answer it for you. You know
well,
that
I want you to, because you're the guru.
Ron, I'm not the guru. I'm the Ruru. And the fact of the matter is the Huru. Lulu. So Alessio, can he give a last spark for Essendon? It is a goal. And Alessio has... Post, is it? Well, there you are. So the fortunes of the game have turned against Essendon. Fully deserved Richmond's lead at this stage.
11-11-77.
That's how bad Benny's going. He kicked the ball out as pulled back when the umpire hadn't even started to wave the flag.
It hasn't been Benny's day, but look, he might come off the ground. Part of a tumultuous winning team here, because the Tigers have been great in their fight back. Campbell off defensive 50 along the wing. Up they go, free kick against Harvey, who got either Bourke or Tape. Too high was Tape. He's been good. And Tape on Mender's wing. 17, nearly 18 minutes last quarter. The siren can't come quick enough for the Tiger supporters. You might be in the preliminary final. As Charles jumps on half forward in front of a tired-looking Fletcher. Takes the mark. One more goal will sink Essendon. Here's the kick to the square. Turner! It's a goal! The Tigers are home at the MCG. This is unbelievable. Richmond 12-11-83. Essendon 9-7-61. They've turned many a game around, Sam, but they can't win from here, Essendon.
No, they cannot. And full marks to Richmond, who have really, well, I suppose, found something deep down when all looked gone. And it started out of the centre, as Graham Bod said, 15-5 odd before this quarter started.
That is the measure of character when you're on your backside. You got to get up. They did. Here come Essendon. They've got no petrol left. They've spent every zack they've got. Ollerenshaw runs to 50. Kicks it down and towards Benny Gale. He can't take it. Salmon has pulled off the football. Benny Gale gets his second kick, but it goes into the hands of Lloyd on the half-back flank. The half-forward flank for Essendon, and Lloyd comes in and kicks a goal. The first goal for Essendon. The second goal for Essendon after half-time. Sorry?
No, sorry, I meant the first since the second quarter was why I put the 2 fingers up, Rex.
The first goal since the 20-minute mark of the second quarter, Rex.
It's unbelievable.
Say that again, Rex, please.
The first Essendon goal since half-time comes 19 minutes and 31 and 77/80ths of a a second in the last quarter.
And Somerville thumps it down. Daffy's kick smothered. Harvey charges out of the traffic. Left footer within 30 of goal. Out comes Benny Gale. Overruns it. Mercuri's got it. Waiting on the outside is big Alessio. Prescott was terrific. Stopped them in their tracks. Went to Kellaway, who goes wide hoping for Bond. He'll have Olorenshaw to beat, and he beat him. Well done, Chrissy Bond. Southern stand wing. 20 minutes last quarter. Tigers should win. In front by 16. Now Howard's got it and kicks it on that familiar left foot. He goes wide down Southern stand side, and Nate's got it. Oh, he's been a very good player since half-time, being shifted onto a wing. He's gone to Bond again. Love to know Bond stats. Bondy for Tatch Pokies.
6 marks, 13 kicks since half-time. Naish has had 14 touches.
Bond under the Southern stand. 80 from goal. Look out for Turner. They jump. No one can take the mark. Grenville down. Kick off the ground by Richmond. Will be out on the full. Rogers.
How's the spark in the step of the Richmond forwards who didn't fire a shot in the first half? Confidence, Kent. Confidence. That's the way you've got to get that third one going with Bernadette.
Well, we'll do that. I'm inspired by this by the Tigers. We might have a big night as Mercedes marks in the back pocket under the Southern stand. It's 12-11 the Tigers, 10-7 the Bombers. 16 points is the winning or leading margin at this stage for Richmond. You'd reckon it's a winning margin as Essendon now work at the half-back flank. But gee, it's short and it's slow. How you reading it down there? Gary Brice from the Essendon side for Harry's Liquor Markets as Denham marked on defensive 50.
They're gone.
Thank you very much. Alessio's on the wing position. He's right in front of the Ansett sign and kicks up ball bursting, finger breaking mongrel punt to the right half forward. Over the top of the football is Lloyd, but here comes Matthew Knights. The skipper is courageous and he kicks it down to the wing and puts it straight on top of the hands of Bond. Richmond will win. They'll go into the preliminary final next week against Geelong with great confidence. He kicks it down towards 50 to Turner, who's been fantastic. Grenville is there, and there's a free kick now to Richmond.
Holding.
On the left half-forward flank to Turner, who's been terrific since being moved to the half-forward line. He swapped with Benny Gale. Turner now kicks a long finger breaker onto the edge of the square. It's picked up by Naish. He hand passes to the Duck, and the Duck kicks a point. A point to Richmond, who are home now. Don't worry, folks. Richmond at 12-12-84. They lead Essendon 10-7-67, who have spent every zack they've ever had.
Well, they've kicked 1 goal and 1 behind since half-time, the Bombers. Or 1-3 actually, and Mercuri out here half-back flank member side, still got a little bit of petrol left. Hand passes back to his captain, who hand passes to Harvey. He'll be under pressure. He's gone. Great tackle, Bauer. That's on the centre line. Knights plays for a free. It won't come. It's scooped out of the pack and a free kick to the Bombers. And they want it quickly, and so they might want it quickly as Doolan takes it. Hand passes to Denham. They need Alessio on half forward to claim a grab, but Howard just out-bustles the big man. And Johnny Howard's been all right since he came on. Kicks long on that left foot out to the Southern stand wing. Naish marked in front of Michael Simons. Will he play on? Yes, he will. Hand passes to Tape, who's running. He's forward of wing. The pass to Charles. He couldn't take the mark. Wangadine roads it. At defensive 50, hasn't got too many options. Gave it to Denham, who gave it to Fletcher. All hands Bondy. And Fletcher kicked long on the right foot.
She's all over saying, waving her wooden leg. She says, I've had it. And I can tell you now, Essendon have had it. As the free kick, as the mark is taken down there by Naish, who has been absolutely fantastic. He got it from Howard, and Naish taking all the time in the world. There's the Ansett sign, so too the Sonova sign, next door to the Crown Casino sign. Kick it, or I'll mention every sign along there. So Naish goes bang inside 50. He's looking down there for Turner, but Somerville goes up and takes a good mark. She's all over Red Rover here at the MCG. Richmond definitely will win. The hand pass came out towards Red Simons. Simons kicked it out looking for Olorenshaw. It was taken by Naish. Naish behind the stick job. Behind the stick it was. And she's all over Red Rover. Richmond 12-13-85 will defeat Essendon 10-7-67. She's all over, kid.
Well, it is all over. It's been a fantastic fight back from Richmond. They were 5 goals down at half-time and looked absolutely out of it early in the third quarter. Dermy made the comment that it might in fact end up being an annihilation. Look at this. Richmond running home over the top of the Bombers. Knights wins it at the kick out. Gives it to Campbell. 70 from goal is Wayne. Describe the kick, Big Al Martello, right in front of you for Harry's Liquor Markets.
Wayne Campbell's going right in front of us, is Shane, but 85 metres out, and he'll go for goal. No, he's kicked it across back towards the centre.
He almost gave it away. In the end, Bowen marked it away from Hurd. Kicks a high ball to the goal square. Can they get a grab here, the Tigers? Rogers jumped high, jumped early, couldn't take the mark. Essendon just rattled. Hand passes going anywhere. In the end, Daffy grabs it and misses. Oh, it was a left foot snap from the boy from Mount Gambier. Richmond goes to 12-14, 86. Essendon, 19 points in arrears, 10-7, 67. And look at the yellow and black throng. They're waving the scarves. They've got the Sheedy scarf waving routine going. And around the ground, the scene here is unbelievable.
This is magnificent. Wave those scarves, Tiger fans. In the centre of the ground, Hurd hand passes to Denham. Denham hand passes further to the Conviction. Pryor gets a hand pass on towards Calthorpe. He's cleaned up, stacks on the mill. Stand up now and wave those flags, everybody. Get up there and wave those Tiger flags, because your side is home. There is no doubt about that as the umpires got the football. Wave the flags here at the MCG. Richmond, they say. Knocked out by Hurd. It came out to Oliver Shaw. He kicked it inside 50. Jamie Tate came out, and so too Benny Gale. Benny Gale has kicked it, and it's been touched over the boundary line and out of bounds. Great scenes at the MCG.
Oh, unforgettable scene, Sammy. This is a marvellous day for Richmond.
It is, Shane, and pity someone wasn't up in those two vacant sections in front of Ready Mix and Mobile. What a waste.
It's really given you the pip all day, that Asman, as Alessio taps it down to Mercuri. He chips short to Mercuri. Essendon within 50 of goal. All too late, 19 points. They'll never get that back within about 2 minutes of footy. Mercuri being booed. Big right foot kick is a goal to Mercuri. So Essendon back within 13. Mercuri's got 2. 11-7-73. Richmond 12-14-86. Alessio hit the post with about their only other real good effort at goal, apart from the other goal they kicked earlier in the quarter. And Essendon has just been absolutely outrun, Dermy. Can you put your finger on where it started?
Well, they should. There it is, that little circle, a couple of metres in diameter, in the centre of the ground. Richmond just won it out of there in the second half, and they just killed Essendon with their running forward of that area.
So Richmond are into the preliminary final. You would just think there's no time left for Essendon. Richmond chant the crowd. Smoking Joe Mercuri over the top of the football, got a hand pass, but it was a throw, and Richmond are going to take it. There's amazing comeback here at the MCG. Absolutely marvellous scenes here for the Tigers. This is where you build character.
And John Northey came out of his box and waved his yellow and black tracksuit top, Rick.
This is where you get character. John Northey runs to the centre of the ground. Richmond fans are absolutely delirious. All I can see here is yellow and black flags and scarves being waved together by thousands and thousands of Richmond supporters.
Well, we just saw John Northey waving the jacket. Here's Matthew Knight, who kept Richmond in the game early. He's down there with Russell Morris.
How do you feel?
Oh, well, I've had it, mate. It was one of them butt-gusting games, and we were behind a little bit early, and we showed our grit and determination and got back in there. That's what the side's all about.
5 goals down at half-time. What did Northey say to you at half-time?
We knew they had a big game last week against West Coast. Charles just keep persisting and keep running, play on at all costs, and we eventually ran them off the legs.
They 3 fantastic goals in the first half. Yourself a couple of chances.
Yeah, I tried to get the boys going a bit of inspiration in the first half, and I'm just lucky it paid off.
So go for the boys. Sensational stuff. Thank you.
Matthew Knight with Russell Morris.
Who have been in the gutter for 13 years. It's not done yet, the job, but this is great stuff for the Richmond Football Club. After Essendon had them on their knees at half-time, Richmond have come back in true underdog fashion. They've run, they've crunched, they've burst their way forward until that vital moment when Turner grabbed the ball and put it through. They then kicked the next 7 goals in the match and have won
Oh, it's a magnificent sight out here, Rich, and all the Richmond flags and scarves and everything going out. And John Northey, as you mentioned, when he came out of the box, he took the jacket off and did the Kevin Sheedy wave with it. He was swinging around and all the supporters were cheering him. A magnificent performance by Richmond, and if you look around here, they're all singing and yelling out, and it's great to see my club, Richmond, doing well.
We will listen to that. Oh, look at that, Rick. Just listen to that. There's Bill Meegan, the man that broke Kevin Bartlett's record, running around there with his cranium showing in the evening light. Let us now pause for some of the Richmond song and listen to this tremendous crowd appreciation of a side that does not know the meaning of giving up.
During the year would have just dissipated towards the end. They have got so much to take to Waverley next week.
And there's still the sceptics today, Bruce, wasn't there? I mean, there were still people saying, were they good enough? I mean, I even thought today, the early part, here we go.
Robbo's just written down about the energy level, Ross. It's like when Sebastian Coe wins and Steve O'Rett runs second. The bloke that wins a gold medal just charges around the Olympic Stadium. They are still pumped.
They could play another quarter.
It's amazing, isn't it? I think what you said, Ross, is quite pertinent too. You know, when a club is struggling, and they're a great football club, there's a lot of Richmond people here today, Bruce, like 85,000, half of them would, maybe even more, would be Richmond supporters, and it's terrific for footy. And I think there's an interview coming up with Russell Morris down in the dressing rooms, but it's terrific for footy that someone can come from nowhere and make a surge like this.
Well, Roscoe talked about Scotty Turner's contribution. Here he is with Russell Morris. Unfortunately, we just can't hear what's happening there, but we will get an interview from the Richmond rooms, no doubt. Wonderful scenes. It was one of the great ones. Richmond over Essendon, 12-14 to 11-7. Have a look at the second half. 8 goals, 10 Richmond. Essendon 2-3. The final scores of the MCG. Richmond 12-14-86. Essendon 11-7-73. Still high excitement here. Thousands of Richmond supporters still around the ground, singing the song, waving the flag. Let's go back to the rooms and Scott Turner with Russell Morris. Russell.
Bruce, it's amazing how popular people can get when they win a game, Scotty. They've just been chanting your name. You're a hero, mate.
Yeah, Russell. I get it every week, I think.
Mate, tell us a bit about the second half. You went to centre half forward, and what happened after that?
Yeah, I don't know, every week I've been playing fullback, but when I get the forward line, I love it. I get to run around by myself, kicking some goals, and just once I kick a goal, I let everyone know.
So when you say you're by yourself, who picked you up?
James Hird played on me, but I think he's worried about getting a kicker himself, so which I was glad. And then Harv come on to me, and then Grenvold in the last, so he was giving away a bit of height there.
It must be a credit to the side with guys like Naish and kicking 2 goals in that third quarter. Naish and Daffy that struggled early and then came back.
Yeah, that's right. They did struggle early, but I think the third quarter has always been our best quarter for the whole year, and we showed that today. And even the last quarter, we battled on really well.
It's been a credit to the Tigers this year. People have written you off many big games, and you've sort of shoved it up them, basically.
We have, yeah. Every week we're the underdogs. We don't mind if we're the underdogs. If we win, we can always stick it up the press and everyone.
Oh, good on you, mate. Against Geelong next week,
Looking forward to it.
You might have Gary Ablett. Or maybe you're up
I don't think Benny will have Gary Ablett next week. I think I'll be back down there.
Okay, mate, great luck. Fantastic day, and good luck for next week.
Mate.
Good on you.
They are excited, aren't they, Ross? It's a bit irreverent, but Teddy wouldn't mind. We stuck it up.
Yeah, something to look forward to, isn't it? Getting Gary Ablett next week. But he really was the catalyst, Bruce. So I think we mentioned just going forward, a couple of hips and shoulders on O'Donnell, and then Grenvold just upset the Essendon balance. And it's interesting that last week West Coast lost the game when they had injuries. Today, Essendon the same thing. Couldn't replace players O'Connor and the other player Young going off, so they were too short. And then, of course, in the end, O'Donnell just couldn't come back on. But their persistence of Richmond really was to be applauded, Bruce. It was just outstanding.
And talk about the old third quarter being the premiership quarter. You've called 2 finals matches this year, and the third quarter's been the big one, hasn't
no
it?
question. And
last week at Waverley.
And a couple of players that were mentioned by Russell, they're talking to Scotty Turner, Naish and Daffy. At half-time, Bruce, they'd had 6 possessions between them. At the end of the game, Daffy finished with 23 and 2 goals, Naish 24 and 2 goals.
So that's 41 possessions between them in the second half.
And they weren't just kicks forward, they were quality stuff, and they lifted to take over where Knights had gone a bit quiet. His effect was really outstanding in the first half. Broderick had been quiet too, and then also Campbell had been nullified fairly well. So those guys had to step up, and they did. And this fellow, his 2 goals in that last quarter, particularly on Bomber Thompson, really gave them the surge they needed.
Yeah, Roger's important. We said at the beginning, or during the last quarter, the goals were going to be tough to get, weren't they? Maxfield here.
Well, that great effort there by Charles to go back and try and take the mark was great, because the ball then spilt free to advantage of his teammate Maxfield, and to bring the ball back like he did from the boundary line, he was on his left foot, his preferred foot, but it was a good kick, gave Rogers a chance and a goal result. And then they go, really, you could see that, you mentioned their body language, but you thought, comparing the two sides, Richmond's body language was good, their hips were up, their heads were up. I mean, it does show, and Essendon players, hands on hips, they were trudging around, reluctant to go and pick up a player. And it's interesting that Scotty Turner said that he thought that James heard him playing and him, just wasn't particularly concerned about where Turner was going. He was more interested in just getting a kick. Well, I still thought that Hurd was Essendon's best player, particularly when it was under pressure in that third quarter. He played across half-back, took some telling marks, but he was probably the only player who played consistently through the game.
Well, let's go back to the rooms. John Northey, very excited after the game, is with Russell Morris.
Thanks, Bruce. John, is it one of the most emotional days you've ever had?
I must say, coming off the ground, going out to greet the players, that was very emotional, but goodness me, the spirit that the boys showed after half-time was just magnificent. I mean, that was really emotional stuff, both sides, whether you're coaching, I'm sure, or whether you're playing.
And how do you feel, though? It's not as if it's a grand final. You've got another couple of weeks to go.
I know. It's just tremendous for the players, because I thought they fought so hard after half-time. I thought what we did at half-time, they just stayed on line on the ball, and, we thought that Essendon were tiring, and they tired, and then our players really pumped up a lot harder after that too. But, it's just one of those days. I know it's only the first semi and all that sort of thing, prelim next week, but, it was just a magnificent fight back by all the players. Took Naish off, he came back and did very well. Daffy was on and off. Just all the players gave their bit every time that they got back out on the ground after half-time.
What about the half-time speech? Is it going to go down in the annals of history of the half-time speech of the semi-final of Richmond-Essendon?
No, mate, look, I just said, hey, boys, the ball is what we're after. We've got to go for that as hard as we can, and they certainly did that, and all the boys lifted. They knew that for us to get back in the game, we all had to lift, and they certainly lifted after that.
Did you notice all the Richmond players waving their jumper in the crowd?
Well, I must say...
Did you wave your jumper, did you?
I promised the players on Thursday night, after we won the game, as soon as I stepped out of the box, I would do the wave for them. And I tell you what, it's one of the most thrilling things I've ever done.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. And now Geelong next week, obviously.
Yeah.
Is it a night tonight you're going to relax?
Oh, yeah, tonight we'll sit down and relax about the whole thing, but get our mind back on the job. We won't have the players out celebrating because it's only part of the finals this, but certainly another big task next week, and we've just got to prepare ourselves for that task next week.
What about Jericho and Bullis? They came out with injury. What happened with them?
Well, Bullis, as you know, had sore feet, and we thought he was coming up okay, and then he's come down with the flu on late Friday afternoon. He'd been in bed, so he just couldn't do it. Steve Jericho had been in trouble with ankle injury all week. We thought he might have been right, but didn't come up, and Steve's very emotional over there. It's just a pity for him, but he gives himself a chance next week now.
So now you're probably going to have a close to full list. Obviously Richardson and 3, but a close to full list to select from next week.
Oh yes, we would, and it'll be tremendous. It'll be a big boost for the players. You know, we played Carlton last night in the reserves. A lot of other players played well, so hopefully we'll have everybody pretty well right.
You must be very impressed with guys like Naish and Daffy that came out after half-time that struggled early and kicked 4 goals in that quarter.
Yes, they did struggle, and that's why they're on and off the ball. And nothing like Naish. You take him off, put him back, he gets a rocket. He does it himself. And that was tremendous. But, you know, Matthew Knights, I must say, he early with those 3 or 4 goals that he got by just running through, zigging and zagging. Matty Rogers shepherding for him. Just great team effort, and he sort of helped keep us in the game. But after half-time, we really put the pedal down. We played very, very hard football.
Have a great celebration.
Thanks very much.
Well, I reckon that's one of the best interviews I've ever heard John Northey give. And his emotion and waving the jacket. It was just good stuff.
Let's hope they can keep it in check, yeah.
Mitsubishi Motors match stats.
Well, Essendon predominantly have been big stats winners right throughout the course of the year, and you look there, they still had their fair share of the football, but under more pressure in that second half from Richmond, and running down the lines there. Free kicks pretty even, which will be pretty good tackles there. You just show 31-23, where Essendon were put under great pressure by Richmond, and centre breaks favoured Richmond in the end there, Bruce, which is so important, the way they got the ball forward.
Now, the team states, we start with Richmond. Rogers' couple of goals late certainly catapulted him, but he had a good match.
Yes, and there you see Daffy surging forward with after struggling at half-time, as we've mentioned before, really lifting beautifully. Naish following him along there. Broderick just quiet, but OK early. But the good thing about a player like that, Bruce, he will attract a good player from the opposition side. And even and then Jamie Tate, Chris Bond just persist along. They were very, very good.
And from Essendon's point of view, they were stopping rather than finishing on, weren't they?
Yes, Mercuri finished off in the good form he had last week, played in the back pocket in this last quarter, then went down the ball and kicked a goal late. And then I thought James Hird, 15, 8 and 9, playing in about 5 different positions today, was possibly their best player. Wanganeen got a lot of those stats early, Bruce, then faded. And then they didn't have the same drive from Calthorpe, Mercedes.
O'Donnell was
and then losing O'Donnell because he was controlling Campbell. And then also he's a player that not only can he control the opposition player he's playing on, but he gives you a lot of run and some quality ball as well.
Well, a remarkable day, and Richmond getting over Essendon. We'll be back with more from the Melbourne Cricket Ground after this break. Welcome back, Neville Crowe, former president of the Richmond Football Club, in much more troubled times than right now, and player with the club and such an identity. And it's great to see famous Richmond names down there tonight celebrating the victory. Yeah. And Stuart Maxfield's down there too, and he was important when he came onto the ground after a slow start. He's with Russell Morris.
Stewie, get a smile on your face, mate.
No, I'm pretty happy, mate. I'm very happy, actually.
Mate, no one likes sitting on the bench, of course, in the first half. How'd you feel about that?
Yeah, I wasn't very happy about it, but, you know, that was a part of the, it's the team balance and that sort of thing. I played poorly last week, so I started off on the bench this week.
So, obviously, the game against Essendon at the G a few weeks back, still stuck in your mind?
Yeah, it motivated me a fair bit, you know. It was a few other things happened apart from the draw and that sort of thing, so I had to just go out there and make up for it.
So today you're a bit of a player with attitude, were you, when you went on? You look pretty keen when you ran on.
Yeah, I was very keen to get on. I mean, big crowd, you know, 88,000 and that sort of thing, and 5 goals down at half-time, so I had to try and do something to help out.
So now for yourself, what are the plans for yourself? Preparation for next week? Is it a quiet night tonight? Or
yeah, very quiet night tonight. Just try and keep a lid on things and prepare ourselves for next week.
What sort of preparation did Johnny put you through during the week from a team's point of view?
It was fairly light training all week, just, you know, pretty short, sharp, that sort of stuff. But, you know, nothing really hard. You know, you can't really gain any more fitness in a week, that sort of thing. So this week it'll be probably pretty light again.
Did you watch a video of the Essendon West Coast game last week?
Yeah, we watched you know, a few clips and that sort of things, just a few game plans that they had set out from last week. But, you know, they seemed pretty tired last week in the second half. We just had to make the most of that this week.
Were there any particular points that John might have pointed out for yourself personally about picking up certain people again today?
No, not really. You know, we had a plan to go out there and be as hard as, you know, as you always do, go as hard as ball as you can. You know, against North last week, that's where we had a lot of blokes down, that sort of thing, and everyone was able to get up today. I'm
always interested to know, in the first half, you look as though your heads were lowered and you weren't hitting the ball and attacking the ball, but then in the second half, you hit the ball at 100 miles an hour. What happened?
I don't know, the boys just sat down at half-time, you know, everybody had a quiet chat and that sort of thing, and just realised, you know, it's do or die, you know, this game, that sort of thing, so the boys came out and really lifted, so it was great.
So I'm sure next week you'll be keen to start on the ground, not on the bench?
Be very keen to start on the ground next week.
All right, good luck for next week.
Thanks very much.
Stuart Maxfield with Russell Morris. Essendon rooms are closed. We do have cameras down there. You can imagine there's a lot of soul searching. Ross, amazing what players talk about. Stuart Maxfield knew there were 88,000 people here today. He said it, 88,000, 88,308.
Yeah, oh, look, they would take full note of that. I mean, anything you can do to get yourself up. And it's interesting also that a win too, Bruce, like that will now cover some of the lesser performances of some of the players. If they lose today, you go through and you can pinpoint some of the players didn't play so well. So all those little things will lift them for next week.
So what might have cost you a game has just become a bad one.
Exactly.
With a chance for another.